live on Pop Culture Breakdown. I am your host, Victor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and each week we are joined by our pundits who pontificate on all things pop culture. And we have a wonderful lineup here for you tonight, folks, on a very, very busy news week. We have with us tonight, I am going to exit my solo layout. We have got the Kelvington, my producer, my friend, my guiding light. Hail, Kelvington. How are you?
Hail, Doomcock. I think it's really good. I think we're having a good show tonight.
I think we're going to have a great show tonight. It's going to be a better show than I had afternoon, but never mind. Nick of Echo Base Network is our guest tonight to help us talk about, well, you know. Yeah. How are you, Nick?
Good. Hail, Doomcock. Hail, everybody on the panel and everyone in chat. Good to be here. And yeah, we'll be diving into this Kenobi trash dumpster fire here shortly.
Yes, we certainly will. But I'm glad to have you here, Nick, because you have a good take on it, and you are huge Star Wars fans over at Echo Base Network, obviously. So it's going to be a great discussion. And Clobbering Times has joined us here tonight to go ahead and talk about all things comic and the Orville, which I absolutely adored. Hail, Clobbering Times. How are you, brother?
Hey, brother. Oh, I tell you what, thank God for the Orville. Listen, after sitting through certain other things, at least I can go back and rewatch that episode again. Oh, God.
Yes.
It's a palate cleanse big time.
That's right. That's right. After having, turpentine siphoned into our mouths, courtesy of Alex Kurtzman, we can spit it out and drink deep of the font of human kindness known as the Orville. Thank God for it.
Indeed, sir.
Gary Ambrosia. Gary, oh my God, I am glad to have you here tonight to put a smile on my face, to make me laugh after all of this hell. Jesus, God almighty.
It was a
Kenobi sucks. Strange New World sucks. The Orville, thank God for the Orville.
Yes.
But 2 out of 3 is bad.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 is bad.
It was a rough week.
It was. Hail to you. And
Is Stranger
Andy
Things
Masterson,
season 4 any good?
What?
Stranger Things season 4, have any of you guys seen it?
I've heard that it is. I have not seen
excellent.
it yet.
I'll be starting to watch that tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
I'm going
all
to start
right.
it
Check it out.
tonight.
I'm going to check it out. I'm looking forward to that. And Andy Masterson, happy birthday, Andy!
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Man, boy, he's going to go out and get a drink finally. He is street legal. He can go ahead and drink whatever he wants now. Hail to you, Andy.
After all the drinking I did after Kenobi, I don't know if my liver can take it.
Yes, the Kenobi is a friend of the medical establishment. It keeps the hospitals full. And of course, PJ of Orville Nation is here to talk to us about the Orville in particular, although of course his wisdom on Enterprise Bingo will be also welcome. Hey PJ, how you doing, man?
Thanks for having me, Doomcock.
Dear God in heaven, we need you this week. So, Kelvington, my friend, is it time for the breakdown?
Indeed.
Issue 1. For the second week in a row, Maverick continues its box office dominance. The film is on pace to make $500 million by tonight. Star Trek The Wrath of Khan debuted 40 years ago this week and is coming back to theaters in September. Holy crap. Well, that is a wonderful, wonderful palate cleanser as well. My favorite Star Trek movie of all time. Holy crap. It's one of my favorite Star Treks of all time. And we'll get into why a little later, because it ties into the Orville. I love Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, and I love the Orville for similar reasons, and we're going to get into that tonight. And the Queen of England is making a run at French King Louis VIII as the longest ruling monarch in the history of the planet. Queen Elizabeth of England is celebrating 70 years in power this month with our Platinum Jubilee. Oh my dear God. Although she is missing some of the celebration due to discomfort, she has some mobility issues, and as is Prince Andrew. Oh, well. Don't go into that. I don't want to stick it to the Queen, poor woman.
Yeah, you
do. No. I wanted to stick it to Diana, but
I sure do.
way. Anyway.
It's hot.
Diana, oh, I miss her. The Johnny Depp Amber Turd trial came to a close this week, with Amber losing most of the counts in the case. Johnny was awarded $15 million by the jury. The judge reduced one of the judgments from $5 million to $350,000, which is the state of Virginia's limit on punitive damages. Amber won on one of the counts, and the jury awarded her $2 million. So in the end, doing some rudimentary math, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that Amber Turd owes Johnny $8,350,000. She plans to appeal, which is good because in the box office, she has lost her appeal. Get it?
Nice.
Get it? And Disney released a trailer this week. God damn. Oh, Disney released a trailer this week for the live-action Pinocchio movie, which no one on Earth was clamoring for. It looks very much like all the other live-action Disney remakes from the last few years. Again, were people begging for this, or were they begging for them not to do this? Well, it's getting a direct-to-Disney Plus release and skipping its theatrical run, so at least there is at least some small mercies left in this pop culture wasteland. Oh, geez. The Pinocchio. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm getting dizzy just thinking about how bad that is. I've got my head in my hands here. Ooh, fuck. In other Disney news, the House of the Mouse has fucked the timeline of their Batuu lands at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. A Batuu lives in the sequel trilogy timeline, but now they have introduced both Boba Fett and Fennec Shand into Batuu, with the Mandalorian and Grogu expected to arrive soon. This is the first time Disney has altered the timeline of Batuu, and people fully expect and want to see Vader and company walking around for photo ops. It should be noted that neither Fett or Shand will interact with Kylo Ren or Rey or any characters from the sequel trilogy timeline, primarily because there are no characters in the sequel trilogy timeline, in case you hadn't noticed. And sadly, there will not be a third season of Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves. HBO has canceled the sci-fi drama series after 2 seasons. Raised by Wolves centers on 2 androids tasked with raising human children on a mysterious virgin planet. And I can tell you, folks, if you didn't watch it, you missed out on one of the weirdest shows ever made. It was really, really weird. And if you like weird, then this was a high watermark of that, certainly on HBO. It was a damn fine show. It was really compelling, endlessly fascinating. And I am very frustrated that we will not get a better explanation of what the hell all was going on that show. But I still recommend you check out the 2 seasons that were made. It's really excellent. Jordan Peele, fucking Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele, let us see the alien spacecraft that will appear in his movie Nope later this summer. And fans said nope to it. No, I'm just kidding. It looks almost identical to the spaceship in Forbidden Planet. Having worked on the Twilight Zone, you would think Peele could come up with something more original. I despise Jordan Peele. I thought that his Twilight Zone was not only woke, but hatefully woke, racist, sexist woke. I mean, it was really a nauseating display of wokeness. I will never watch anything else that Jordan Peele makes. Never again. And finally, the Studio Ghibli theme park has been delayed again. It is now slated to open in March of 2024 outside of Nagoya instead of this November. This is being done to accommodate the addition of further attractions, which is a great reason to do that. Currently, there are ones based on My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, and Castle in the Sky. I would really appreciate it if they would go ahead and add some Porco Rosso to it, which is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I truly, truly adore Porco Rosso, and I advise you guys to check it out. So The Boys returned for season 3 this week, releasing 3 amazing episodes of the Amazon series, which included things I can't even describe occurring here on YouTube. But let's just say I will never look at injected hot dogs the same way again. And now that we are all caught up with the breakdown of the briefs of the week, it brings us now, oh dear God, it brings us now to the latest episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And tonight, we are lucky enough to have joining us in our discussion of Obi-Wan, our friends, or at least one of our friends, Coach may join later, at Echo Base Network. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, folks, what can I say? This is I had a sobering realization, like just before I watched the third episode this last week, and I realized that we are getting The Last Jedi all over again. And I know that sounds like hyperbole. That sounds like sour grapes. That sounds like sensationalism. I have broken the damn thing down, and I am more convinced than ever that this is absolutely a better disguised, but still exactly destructive Last Jedi knockoff in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I submit to you that just as Luke was bitter and broken in The Last Jedi, so too is Obi-Wan broken and ineffectual in Kenobi. Luke threw away his lightsaber. Obi-Wan buried his fucking lightsaber. Both of them shirked their missions. Both of them are shown to be cowardly. I just think that the parallels go on and on and on. And what it really is just an excuse for Kathleen Kennedy to go ahead and get at another male icon. And I find it absolutely disgusting. Not to mention that the episode itself was bad, particularly how they ended it. And we've got to discuss it, folks. We've got to discuss it. And I wouldn't consider it so much a spoiler as a warning to brace yourself and drink heavily before processing the nonsense of this. Holy crap, it is bad. So let's start with Nick. Nick, do you see what I'm talking about on this? That it's The Last Jedi.
100%. Yeah. So and the thing is, before the show even dropped, and I said it for months before the show ever even came out, that you got the return of Hayden Christensen, the return of Darth Vader. You got Ewan McGregor coming back. This is during the dark times of the Empire. If this show's not great, it's a failure. It's a complete failure. Having those people back, this show should be great from episode 1 all the way through to the end. Mediocre or subpar or just okay is not good enough. And when this show started with the very first episode, and then going into episode 2 and 3, I started seeing the same parallels that you're talking about with Luke in The Last Jedi. And I don't know why Disney sees the need to break down these legacy characters to basically being big, huge pussies. It just doesn't make sense to me. The people going in The Last Jedi wanted to see a Gandalf the White type Luke Skywalker, and in this, we just wanted to see even more force powerful Obi-Wan, who's been training over this 10-year time frame, preparing for when the time's right to come back and take on Vader and the Empire and the Emperor and all that, watch over Luke, that sort of thing. And he's just a big puss now. He buried his lightsaber. He's broken. I'm not a fan of this PTSD stuff, because that's too much similarities to real life for me. This is fantasy. This is make believe. He's a Jedi. He should, be beyond that, in my opinion, and rise above the PTSD or the guilt that he might have of what happened with Anakin or whatnot. And and it's just a complete shit show. And I'm definitely not pleased with it so far.
No, I'm not either. Because Nick, I mean, my God, we can never see one of our heroes at the peak of their powers.
Yeah.
At least not when KK is doing it. Now, we got to see Luke at the peak of his powers when he carved through those dark troopers like they weren't even there. It's
the best thing Disney's given us so far.
Yeah, that was incredible. But this, just like we couldn't see the Luke we wanted. He was curtailed. He was wimpy. He was angry. He wanted he didn't believe in the Jedi anymore. Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't believe in the Jedi anymore. He turns that Jedi away when the Jedi comes to help him. And he says, nah, go bury your lightsaber in the sand. Go ahead and just go hide. The Jedi are extinct. Their fire's gone out of the universe. He doesn't believe in his mission anymore. He hasn't been training as a Jedi anymore. Obviously, he doesn't have his lightsaber to protect Luke, so he's not doing the mission. So any like apologists out there, in my opinion, that are saying, well, he had to lay low because he doesn't want to jeopardize the mission. I say, what mission? What mission? He's not doing anything. He's not doing his job.
And if somebody was to come after Luke, how's he going to stop them?
Not with the Force.
No,
he's not going to
or
stop
with his
with
lightsaber.
a lightsaber. He's going to have to go dig it up. He's going to have to get his light shovel and go dig up his lightsaber, retrieve his fallen manhood, his severed manhood that he buried and threw away.
And how did he even know where to go and find that? I mean, anybody that knows anything about sand dunes, they change over time with the wind. So it's not like there's sand dune markers like, oh, there was this one small sand dune and then a big one, and it's like right there to the left of that. It's a constantly, sand dunes are constantly changing environment, and he just walks right through them and looks around and is like, oh, right here. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and it wasn't even that deep, so you're just gonna have a Jawa with a goddamn metal detector, like, and like dig it up and look at what we got. We got us some fucking lightsabers. Kelvington, what did you think of this proposition?
I was not impressed with it. There are a few things that I know pretty well, and Vader is one of them, having done him for a number of companies. And the first thing I can tell you for a fact is his chest box is not held on by 4 probes stuck into his chest.
Good point.
Okay. Vader's chest box is held on by straps that go over his neck and around his back. And that's how he is done in every Star Wars film up to this point. Also, his helmet, I've never liked the way they segmented the helmet in Revenge of the Sith. That never seemed right to me. The way they did it in Return of the Jedi always did seem right. But here you'll notice there are like extra bolts and things on the side of his helmet, and that's not right. Nope. I did enjoy seeing Vader sit down. It's because we only ever see him do that in Empire, and that's he sits down twice in that film, and that's it. So I thought that was kind of an interesting shot of him sitting down. But one thing that they got really, really wrong from even Rogue One, which is he doesn't wear his tabard underneath his football gear yet. His shoulder harness, he wears it over top of that. If you remember in Star Wars, he wears his tabard over top. Yeah. And he does that until essentially Empire. So that's the first time you see him like that. Like they cannot get the simplest small details right, including no lights on the box. There should be no lights on this box at all.
I know. And they look pink.
Well, I'm colorblind, so I can see like kind of a bluish light.
Okay.
But it's like, oh my God. And the entire episode with, interacting with the guy from Scrubs, who, he's an okay actor, but he's a terrible voice actor. He's, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay that the characterization was good, but the voice was terrible. I liked seeing a probe droid again. I don't know. I'm not a fan of spiders, but there's something about probe droids that I have always liked.
Yeah.
And the woman that they had in this film or this series, there was originally supposed to be like a potential love interest. She's nothing. She's nothing to him in this. And let me say,
say
again.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Andy. We can hear you on the phone. And if I'm Vader, isn't the very first thing I tell the guys putting me back together is that my suit has to be flame proof? I lost my arms and legs in, like fucking flames. I need it to be flame proof. I want it to be like, because I don't want this to happen ever again. Okay.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I really liked seeing Obi-Wan get dragged through flames. That I thought was interesting. Like, god damn, they're really doing it. And you have to understand, from an effects point of view, there are no flames on this set. I'll be very curious to see the behind the scenes. Like, I think every aspect of fire was put in later, because Vader's suit does not hold up well to flame. And I do not believe this is a real shot. I think this is all special effects with just some lighting on set. But how Vader can't go through fire to get at Obi-Wan after he drags him through it, like, it's ridiculous. Can't you just lift Obi-Wan up again like you did a few moments ago and drag him through the flames to you? So I don't know. I found some of those aspects very distressing. And Douglas Nelson, who cannot be here tonight, was nice enough to send us a little artwork as well, because he does that on a very weekly basis. But I was very saddened to see Vader not be Vader. And I have a shot from behind the scenes where they have a Vader stand-in and what appears to be a leprechaun. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi stunt performer appears to be about 4'2" tall, from what I can tell from this photo. And their Vader guy isn't that particularly tall. So Hayden Christensen wasn't the only one in a suit on that shoot. This guy is his stunt guy, and the lightsaber battle was very marginal at best. So I was not happy with this episode of Obi-Wan, but I know there are only 3 left, and I know how it ends.
Well, what about the rumors that they have got a second ending that they are putting together? I mean, I don't know if I believe it or not, but I find it very difficult to believe that Kathleen Kennedy would allow the amazing Reva to not go on to have her own spin-off or in season 2 or anything.
It seems very late in the day. And we haven't explicitly talked about exactly how she dies, but I would just say hashtag Tasha Yar comes to mind. And when I saw it, I was like, holy shit. And it was my only note on that episode, which is, you cannot kill her like Tasha Yar, like have a meaningless death. And here's the thing that people were upset because everyone went after the actress Reva. They were like, oh, it's racism and all that. Like, in the end, you're going to have a white man wearing a black face kill an African-American character in a meaningless fashion, like flick his hand and kills her, kind of like what we saw with the guy dying in the street. I cannot believe people will not be outraged and upset over that.
I don't know, but I was outraged and upset by the end of this episode because, I mean, you skimmed the surface of it, Kelvington, but it's even worse than that. So Vader starts up this fire, drags Obi-Wan through the fire, then uses the Force to extinguish the flames. And he wants to torture him some more, but then, of course, the sand spider chick, the sand snake, shoots the troopers and then shoots this canister that reignites the flames. And it's between Vader and Obi-Wan, this wall of flame. So Vader not only could possibly walk through the flames. Flames don't stop the Force. So as you said, he could lift up Obi-Wan and drag him back. But even more, he could just blow out the flames just like he did the first fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And what about all the stormtroopers that are heavily armored? Run through those flames. They're going to run through the flames. They're going to go get him. I mean, there's just no question about it. And also, I mean, these Force guys can kind of fly for short distances. He could have just jumped and glided over the flames, probably.
Or went around them. I mean, I don't know how long that flame trail was.
Well, it
Well,
was it was long, but it wasn't thick. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like 5 feet thick, something like that.
It could have been
And I
like a
didn't
laser
know-
fence, and you can't go around a laser fence.
Oh, okay. And I didn't know lightsabers could ignite flames. Or ignite stuff and make it flammable. That's flammable. Like, is that a thing that we've ever seen happen before? Like them?
No.
Okay,
Well,
don't-
they
I don't really
do cut
know.
through metal, and the metal gets super hot. It makes
Right.
sense as
They
to
can make sparks.
It could.
And stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
he
if they
ate
can make sparks, then it's possible. But he just kind of dips his wick, as it were, into this material, and it ignites it. It's not like he's striking the ground and making flame or
Yeah.
making sparks. But I question that, because I think like every time I've seen them cut somebody's arm off, it cauterizes instantly.
Yeah.
It does. That's true.
So it works heat. But it's just ridiculous. Gary, what did you think of that episode?
Okay, let's see. I got notes.
Good.
Okay, first note, very positive. Hooray for James Earl Jones.
Yes.
That was cool. We can't even get the Imperial March when Darth Vader appears, can we?
No.
It's too much to
that's-
ask. It's too much to ask.
Yeah.
Why can't we just have some Star Wars
We-
music?
We can't just have
Ridiculous.
the Imperial March. I love it. Let's see. Riva has no reaction to either being awarded Grand Inquisitor or dying when she's threatened by Darth Vader. Again, just more dead acting. No point of view on that whatsoever. Let's see.
If only they owned that Star Wars music, right, Gary?
Right.
they
Yeah,
do.
if only. It's the damnedest thing. It's weird.
Right,
Isn't it?
I know. You'd think it would have been included in the rights that Disney paid $4 billion fucking for, but whatever. That's
Can't
neither here
believe
nor
that was
there.
John Williams.
But yeah. People are not at all. People are not all good, Leia. Obi-Wan, why are you snapping at her? Out of place.
Yeah.
The music was awful. The music was awful. Oh, I laughed out loud. Literally laughed out loud. The stormtroopers are looking for a Jedi in the middle of the desert where there's literally nobody around but this one guy and his so-called daughter, and they don't even suspect him. I mean, I literally laughed out loud. Don't they realize that the Jedi they're looking for has a child with them? Dude, it was so stupid.
And I would say it's in keeping with the utter humiliation of Obi-Wan Kenobi and the degradation of Obi-Wan Kenobi, because it would have been the simplest thing in the world to just see him use the Jedi mind trick on them. We aren't the ones you're looking for. How hard would that be?
It wouldn't
Seriously.
have been hard at all, and they wouldn't. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I have more. Let's see. No one understands the concept of subtlety in their acting. Nobody. I don't understand why they're not trained. These are untrained actors. We have Ewan McGregor, and he's still phoning it in. It's really sad. Let's see. People who are in hiding are invited to write their names on the wall of the safe house, thus making it that much easier for the Inquisitors to find them. I love it. You carve your name in on a house. I was here. I'm alive. Keep looking for me.
That made no sense.
Really, that was really dumb. And I mean, at first I was kind of like, why are the walls wood? Because when have we ever really seen like lumber in Star Wars, except for
Not on
Endor.
Tatooine,
Right,
on fucking
Endor.
Tatooine.
It or wherever the
There's
fuck
no
it is.
fuck-
Doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, there was something else that was not in my notes. When Obi-Wan turned off the laser fence, you could see that thing was like a 3D printed prop. I was laughing my ass off. You could see the 3D print lines. I was like, come on, guys. It's not that hard to just sand them off. It's so cheap. Cheap. Let's see. The Darth Vader scenes seem so out of place without proper music. They are so out of place. Like we expect, it's part of the spirit of Star Wars to hear John Williams. And when Darth Vader appears, we don't get not even a glimpse of those. What is it? 5 or 6 little notes of the Imperial March.
Not even a glimpse.
They can't even emulate it.
No.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. You own the rights. Never mind. Let's see. How did Riva know where the safe room was? That was interesting. She just knew right the fuck where it was. I get it. I get that she's a Sith and she can sense things, but show us that. You know what I mean? Give us a little detective work. Give us something. Again, Riva, you're supposed to be Shakespearean trained. Give us a little something. Maybe that's the director. Maybe that's not the actor's problem. I don't know. More though. More. It's just not good enough. why did Vader let him go at the end?
Yes.
He worked so hard to find him, and now he's being carried away by a robot, and there's nothing you can do about this because of some fire. That was really, I mean, really, like, all jokes aside, I'm like, wow, God, really? I mean, it was cool. Like you said, Kelvington, when he pulls him into the fire, now you will pay. Now you will feel pain. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then, something happens. Whoops, I can't get to him, but I'll get you next time. Dude, no.
I mean, Vader has hunted him for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's had a burning anger towards Obi-Wan. And he
I'm too
came
tired. We'll
all
catch
the
him
way
later.
personally to this fucking planet and sat down to go ahead and no.
Yes.
No.
There was a line. They literally said that the Inquisitors are talking to each other over the comms, and they're like, they lost him. I laughed out fucking loud. They lost him. I love it. Oh, my last note. How did Reva get ahead of Leia in the tunnel?
Good question.
It's a
She's
tunnel.
the bestest ever.
It's a
That's the
fucking
setup.
tunnel. There's an entrance and there's an exit. There's no loopholes or anything. How did she literally got ahead of her in a place that she'd never been before? I get she's a Sith Lord, but how does she get ahead of Leia? No,
That Michael
Acting.
Myers power.
not
Michael
thinking.
Myers.
Not thinking
Acting.
Teleportation.
Honestly, my summary of this was the technical problems, all technical problems aside, the stunt that they pulled with the video about, we're so disturbed about all the racism and all that was insulting. That was just the same old game they were playing before. They're blaming us again for a shitty show. Terrible. And you know what? I'm sorry. My favorite part of the episode was James Earl Jones. Does that make me a racist? I love James Earl Jones. I was so excited to hear his voice.
Yeah.
I was great. I was like, cool. That part's good at least. So yeah, it was terrible.
He did sound like Vader, but I have to burst your bubble a little bit. While Jones recorded the lines, they ran him through the respeecher program
sure,
to make them sound like the same thing they did to Luke.
It was still him though, right, Kelvington?
Yes, and
Yes.
Hayden Christensen also recorded the exact same lines, and there are times you can hear them both as the episode is going on. But
Well, at least
he
at
was
least we
there.
got
He got
that.
paid.
That's cool. At least he was there, and at least we had some semblance of it. I know that he's a little bit older, and I know he has a massive stammering or stuttering problem. But God bless him. I love him, and that was cool. I at least got that. It was a bit like the same feeling that we got when we were watching Luke kind of train the little
Right.
Yoda thing. But other than that, yeah, really, really sad. Really,
It
sad.
was terrible. And I mean, it is insane that he went to all that trouble to get Kenobi. And then, I mean, he absolutely could have reached through the flames with the Force and just dragged him to the other side. This
It's
is
pathetic.
so stupid. And let me ask you something. I've seen Cops, right? We've all seen Cops. Bad boys, what
yeah.
you gonna do? How many cops would lose a perp just because they were on the other
None.
side of a wall of fire? Wouldn't
None.
they call for backup? Wouldn't they call for
None.
people to circle the position? Wouldn't they call in for a helicopter?
Yep.
And Vader's got better things than helicopters. He's got TIE fighters and all sorts of shit to take to the air, find out where this droid is slowly dragging a piece of barbecue lightly done. Just get it.
None.
Just
None.
get it. Yeah, good luck getting away from some goddamn Houston police officers, much less Imperial stormtroopers and
Yes.
the Dark Lord of the Sith, for fuck's sake.
And the interesting thing is if Obi-Wan had just a little bit of his abilities with the Force, we could believe like he was throwing tricks here and there. He could be doing something, just something. He could be tricking the stormtroopers. He could be tricking all the help, but Darth Vader's the one that's trying to get to him. We could have some reason as to why we would believe he would escape, but we have none of that. They have none of that to fall back on. You know what I mean? They can't just say, well, he's Force sensitive, so he could have done this. We didn't see it. He's not using the Force. He knows nothing about the Force anymore. He's just a broken old man. And if Darth Vader, literally the ruler of the galaxy, cannot find a broken old man, then we have a broken story.
Absolutely broken story.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, the reason why they put that ending in there that made absolutely no sense It was to distract us from the fact that the lightsaber fight was a humiliating embarrassment with Obi-Wan Kenobi running away, clobbering times, running away. He runs away from Vader. He ran away from Reva. He's a chicken shit mofo. I mean, my God, he looks scared as shit. He beat Vader. Doesn't he remember that he beat Vader?
In his prime, before
prime.
all the metal legs and arms.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's a
I mean, he's got a midi-chlorian deficiency now compared to what he had. Some of those midi-chlorians were in his legs and arms, right? What do you think, Clobbering Times? Was this an awful episode or what?
The whole thing is an awful debacle. You were absolutely right in your hypothesis about it being Last Jedi-ish, even though, some people are thinking there's going to be redemption because we know what happens 10 years later. I don't care. They've already sullied that now because we still have to buy, if you buy into this show, that for 10 years he was moping around. And someone made a good point, I think it may have been Nick, that how in the hell would he have protected Luke in that condition all that time if something had happened to Luke? He was ill prepared to protect anyone. The way he was acting, that Obi-Wan. And, so already in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of the first episode, they had shown me that we're not going to get to see the Obi-Wan that we all know and love, not the old one, and, not the younger Obi-Wan or the old one at the end there. We're going to get garbage. And I was willing to try to give it a chance, like everyone else. And I think I saw this episode coming at the very end of episode 2 when Reva Burnham announced, tells him that, I don't know how she knows he's Anakin, we don't know, but tells him that Anakin Skywalker is alive. The look on his face, if he'd been the real Obi-Wan we all know and love, would have been it would have shaken him to his core, yes, but he would have been, assuming he didn't know it, which is also far-fetched, but let's go with that. It would have been a look of resolve. It would have been a look of more. I mean, I think it would have jolted him back into his old self, if anything. But it was a look of sheer terror, and I'm like, oh God, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Right there at the end of that episode, like the next one, if I will not be surprised if he gets punked around like a bitch. If he doesn't wake up and become the Obi-Wan we all know and love, and then that next one, which is crucial, which is the third episode, then the show is doomed, and they showed us right away that it was doomed. He's bossed around by a little girl, saved by chicks 2 or 3 times, and he is a disgrace. And he faces off Vader for a second, then turns around and starts running. I wanted to cry, man. It was absolutely embarrassing and disheartening to see one of our heroes disgraced like this. Disgraced. Now, I really do believe that people who are accepting things like Strange New Worlds or Obi-Wan and things like that are suffering from Stockholm syndrome, and they'll take anything they can get. It's just, I know there are people who like it. I know there are people who like it. But
well put.
It's horrible. I want to go to
like
the birthday boy, and then I want to go to PJ. But Andy, man, do you see what I mean about why, in God's name, can we not just once see a hero on these Star Wars movies or shows that is not damaged, that is not broken, that is actually firing on all thrusters sharp as attack, which Obi-Wan would have been? Yoda told him, train you must, contact Qui-Gon Jinn, learn this power, how to become a Force ghost if you need to, and train, go out there, fight some crate dragons, Go out there with your lightsaber. Go and practice the Force every day, lifting rocks, lifting boulders, trying to see how more and more powerful you can get, instead of just working in a fish market and sulking and burying your fucking lightsaber. Andy, what the fuck?
What can you say about this that Amber Heard's colon hasn't said already?
Okay.
I mean, like, I also have notes, but I'll be brief. Okay, so as a lifelong martial artist, I mean, I'm going on 40 years now, and it's a vocation. It becomes part of you. You don't just turn your back on it. I get up every morning and I train and I go through things over and over and over again. And, a lot of times it's just like, I have my master who's 72 years old, has been doing this stuff for over 50 some years. Every morning he gets up and he practices forms and he moves and you don't just abandon that and let it go. So that's insulting. The stupidity, the sheer stupidity of this, like, oh my God, here's an automated shipping lane that's going on there. Do you think it has a manifest in a computer somewhere? Because it's got to have a computer guiding it to its location. I wonder if the Empire, with all its resources, can get into the manifest and find out where it's going. Oh no, it's going to be a mystery. Like, we have no idea where it could go. And then, Reva walks into the thing and like, wait, I saw a droid leave. There must be the secret entrance in there. And like Gary said, let's leave the graffiti there that tells everybody where everyone's at. Like, because isn't that a like wonderful plot? Because it's not like anyone's being hunted, and like you wouldn't want to leave any clues whatsoever because your life depended on it. And then you have, you can't force jump or anything. You can't all the stuff that we saw. Here's Obi-Wan Kenobi, who took on Darth Maul, who took on Count Dooku, who killed General Grievous, who chopped the arms and legs off of his the closest thing he had to a brother or a son. Darth Vader, seething with dark side power, and yet he can't seem to all you need is the yakety sax from Benny Hill theme going on, and it's just running around, and
the big tits would have helped too.
I can't use the Force and jump over this fence with a little 10-pound girl. I have to what am I going to do? And then and Reva teleports to everything. And so your question is why can't we have our heroes like this? It's because of the penis. It's the only reason that it makes any sense, because you have to completely neuter every male character that's out there. Because God forbid you make them look competent. Meanwhile, what woman would want an incompetent man who can't and it's, I don't know what Kathleen Kennedy has felt unfulfilled in her life, but there's something that says something there about why you have this need to emasculate men and make them look so poorly. And if you had an ounce of talent, if you had something where just a little bit, she looked at these men that were around her, Spielberg and Lucas, and I think she saw Lucas and she said, oh, he makes this stuff up on the fly. Yeah, but he's George Lucas and you're not. And she thinks that oh, anybody can do that. Well, apparently not everybody can, Kathleen. And that's why you sit there and you thought this job was going to be so easy. And you know what? It is, because any moron, and this is what blows my mind, any moron could walk into Star Wars and just sort of copy and paste things and make an incredibly successful thing of just carrying on what George Lucas started. And yet they seem to turn around 180 degrees and say, let's do the complete opposite of that and make it horrible. Let's take all the heroes that everyone's loved. And why have they loved them? Because they're classical heroes. And off they go and destroy them and replace them with what? Is this what you want your daughters to look up to? Is someone who goes and chops somebody's hand off when they don't give them the answers they want? Is that what your ideal is? And here we go. That's it's an abomination that these writers identify more with the villains than they do with the heroes.
It says something, doesn't it?
Yeah. It really does.
Well put, Andy.
Yeah, well said.
Done, Andy.
Yeah.
And PJ, this is so incompetent, and this is so mean-spirited, and I don't know what they think they're accomplishing with this. On the Orville does it correctly. Everyone on that ship is competent. Everyone on that ship at one time or another has basically saved the ship. And, Kelly is incredibly competent. So is Ed Mercer. So is, Malloy. Everybody has their place, and we cannot have that in Disney Star Wars. They simply, it's the Force is female and that's it. And there is a lack of balance in the Force under Kennedy that is positively Sithlerian, I would say. What do you think, PJ? What do you think about all this?
Let me just first say, as a therapist, the whole PTSD thing is bullshit. And I'll tell you why. Therapists know very well that Buddhist monks, for example, do a lot better with PTSD. And this is very, I mean, if a Jedi can't handle some PTSD, the level, he could be what? He could be sad, he could be bummed out, but the level of brokenness makes no sense whatsoever. Let me just say, as a fan, I think that this is a lot worse than Luke Skywalker, than Jake Skywalker, and I'll tell you why. Because what about the legacy of Alec Guinness? Doesn't this insult the legacy of Alec Guinness? I mean, what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, absolutely, PJ.
totally.
I mean, this is
point.
dishonoring. There is no thread of connection between Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan and this Obi-Wan. The bridge between the prequels and the originals. This is a false path. I mean, this character is nothing like Obi-Wan. And if you wanted to go ahead and show Obi-Wan in a different light, like have him be challenged in some way, perhaps what you should have done is challenge him against himself, against this, 10 years waiting on the planet. Maybe he has gotten angry. Maybe, he is wrestling with not incompetence and cowardice, but actual anger issues where he's like, itching to kill, Sith and those that enable the Sith.
I like that, Doomcock. I like that.
And he struggles. He's struggling with his rage. He's actually really, really, really dangerous.
Great idea.
That would be a lot more interesting and a lot better where like he hears, he's just supposed to be focusing on Luke and training. But every once in a while he hears about patrols or Sith, somewhere, close by, and he can't fucking resist the urge to abandon his post and go kill them. And he's becoming closer and closer to the dark side. And then, Qui-Gon, appears and starts, basically, what are you doing, Obi-Wan? Don't you know that they've destroyed everything? And then it could be Vader's return and confronting Vader again that reminds Obi-Wan, oh yes, this is why we avoid the dark side, lest we become a monster like Vader. Now, wouldn't that have been better?
That's amazing. That's exactly that's exactly a logical, psychological profile of development that he might have. Yeah.
Good character lesson. Good concept.
Yeah. I mean, that is a writer. That is what the approach that I would have taken, because it would have shown Obi-Wan at his best, like, going off planet, cloaked, using the Jedi mind trick ruthlessly, tracking these people down.
And if he's afraid of anything, he's afraid of going dark.
Yeah. He's afraid of going dark, but he can't resist it because he's lonely. He's angry. He's bored. He's tired. And also maybe it might be interesting that there are rumors out there that maybe Anakin didn't die. And he considers that a huge threat and he wants to know. So maybe even he's going information gathering and asking these Empire types before he kills their ass, and then scurries back to, Tatooine, and he doesn't want Yoda to know, or, and I mean, it would be a much more interesting and dynamic thing. Allow the inner turmoil of the man to be translated not into sadness and pussyfooting and cowering, but anger. That would have been something. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I hate I don't want to drag this on because I know we have a lot of stuff to cover, but part of his mission is to be looking after Luke, and that means looking at threats before they get to your front door.
Right.
Okay. And we saw in the Clone Wars, which who is that guy that did the Clone Wars? Filoni. Oh yeah, he still works for Lucasfilm.
Never heard of him.
He's in there, and like you have these HoloNet feeds that all of the Clone Wars episodes start off with. And you think for a second that like the HoloNet feeds aren't going to include this guy named Darth Vader, who is like the Emperor's fist that's going around and like and enforcing everything, and Obi-Wan's not going to be listening. He's not going to be paying attention for any threat that could possibly threaten this kid because that's his whole freaking mission. Yeah. I mean, the stupidity of these writers, like Doomcock, you just said this, like you just laid out this entire thing because you have talent And apparently that's not a prerequisite for working at Lucasfilm anymore. And it's tragic. It's just like that the fact that you can sit here and if you're not like just looking at all the pretty lights going on and like, yay, I've got some more Star Wars. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to watch Star Wars for a nice shiny kernel of corn stuck in the poop. I want to watch real Star Wars. And these people are coming out there like they're happy to get something. No. Yeah. When you completely destroy every bit of characterization that this guy's had for 40 freaking years or more, whatever, it's like, oh my God, the logic is just, it's breathtaking. It takes effort to be that incompetent.
It does.
And
absolutely.
I wanted to piggyback off that for 1 second. If you guys remember in episode 2, when he's with Leia and he sees the Inquisitors. Now, at this point, the Inquisitors were not in Clone Wars. He was in hiding after Order 66, so he wouldn't know anything about the Inquisitors. But when he's with Leia, he sees the Inquisitors and explains to Leia who they are and what they are. So obviously he's been hearing things, but he's not going to hear about Darth Vader? Like, it just doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. There's a lot about this that doesn't add up, Nick. And I guess I would just go. Yeah, go ahead, PJ.
Oh, I just wanted to add a few more things I had. Leia, this whole thing about Leia sending this woman to go save Kenobi from Darth Vader. I mean, like if Kenobi can't handle him, how's this woman going to handle him? I mean, it makes no sense. Another thing too is, as far as the writing is concerned, this is an epic opportunity, reuniting Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi, and there is no dialogue between them. I mean, what it just makes absolutely no sense to me. And another thing too, Obi-Wan messing up and calling Leia by name. It's the whole thing is just one big mess. Sorry, that's all I got.
No, I agree entirely. I would ask Nick one final question, I think, before we move on to super chats, which is this: have they blown their last chance on Star Wars? I mean, that's something I'd like to go around and ask everyone, because I mean, guys, no shit. If you can't even make a show work with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, if you cannot even make that work, then is there anything left in Star Wars? Seriously, I mean, or is it dead, Nick?
I'm starting to lean on the side of it's dead. Personally, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I don't want to buy into that it's dead. I want to have some bit of hope that we're going to get something good that's Star Wars related. But I'm just not seeing it in this show. You know, Mando season 3, I think has potential. Andor, just because there's no legacy characters in there, I think could be a diamond in the rough, possibly. But it's like, if you can't even get this right, the thing is, when they bought Star Wars and they had the original cast back, you were basically handed gold. A monkey could have done something better than what they did with that sequel trilogy. Here again, you have Obi-Wan and Vader coming back. This should be an easy story to tell. This should be something that's just comes real easy for people that are writers that do it professionally, and I'm not seeing it. And the people that I see defending it, I see a lot of people having to explain stuff. Now, me in my lifetime, anytime I saw greatness on the screen, whether it be a movie or TV show, me with the majority of most other people knew it was great. When I watched Breaking Bad, I was like, this show's great. This is awesome. The first couple seasons of Game of Thrones, this show's great. You know, Lord of the Rings, this is awesome. You know, I never watched the show and then had to have it explained to me to have it make sense, to come to some sort of realization like, okay, this is good. It just doesn't work that way. And I don't know if people that are liking the show are just in denial and just really don't want to hate it, so they're kind of forcing themselves into liking it. But I just I'm totally losing all faith in their ability to give us anything even decent with Star Wars with what they're doing with this show.
Absolutely. I mean, I have been, I think, more than fair regarding Star Wars. I mean, I have been open-minded and trying to the point where people have actually said, dude, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But at this point, if they can't even get Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen right in a show that ought to be a slam dunk dream show, then Jesus God, is there anything left? Kelvington, your opinion on that? I mean, is this it? Are they done? Have they blown their best shot?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think, they're going to do The Mandalorian, and once a year we're going to get a series, or once every 2 years we're going to get a series that we can watch, and then the rest of it's all going to be garbage and horse shit. So I think that's where they're at.
I do too. Clobberin Times, your opinion on that, sir?
I concur. Again, the odd thing here and there, maybe, but as long as it's at Disney, it is dead. It is dead.
Gary, what do you think? You're muted, my friend.
Muted, bud.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not all sidelined out. Okay. Doom, I know your mission. I know why you're here. I'm going to propose this question to you. You have a corpse. It's dead for 3-4 days now. How long do you keep resuscitating it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking dead, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid so. I mean, they can't even get this right. This was their last best chance.
We all gave this a shot, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we did. We were like, Boba Fett, all right, well, fuck that. But if they fuck this next one up, that's it. And we called it. And we have to follow through with what we called. So,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Andy, and feel free to disagree. I mean, but I don't know. This.
I mean, I don't know the standpoint from a normie who just likes, ooh, there was a lightsaber lit up and put Obi-Wan in blue. Now I, as a fan, and this is the problem, okay, because we all know I'm a geek with toys and all this crap. I spend money on all this stuff. I'm the idiot that went and bought all these freaking Star Wars toys and stuff like that. Your woke people aren't doing that. They're like, oh, look, we had representation. Move on to the next thing. And I'm not buying anything else. See, Sideshow Collectibles made this really cool friggin' thing here of this Obi-Wan Kenobi mythos thing. And
Oh wow.
I
Looks just like
refuse.
him.
Now this is a
It looks
blend.
great.
This sculpture is a blend between Obi-Wan,
Wow.
Alec Guinness, and Ewan McGregor's face. The artist really did a hell of a job capturing the two of them in there, and it's a tremendous figure. I refused to buy the figure from Sideshow. I bought a head and I made my own outfit for it, even though the figure itself is tremendous. It's I'm not spending the money on it, and I'm the kind of person who that used to keep these people in business. I've got so much damn Star Wars stuff. It's pathetic, and all these people that you want to cater to those people, fine, but they're not going to buy your stuff. And they're not going to buy your stuff and put it on their shelves and make stuff and all this. No, I think it's dead. I think it's you've alienated the true fan, and whatever you want, all they're going to do is move on to the flavor of the week, to whatever else they can destroy that makes them feel good, that made them feel like, oh, look, aren't I virtuous and aren't I wonderful? Nah, it's done. Sorry.
I think so. PJ, any hope at all?
Well, I think there's hope when Kathleen's gone, but not right now. But if I can just address something that I think is the elephant in the room, at least for me, if Coach from if Nick from Echo Base Network is saying that this may be dead, Nick, does this affect the direction of your channel and do you guys talk about that?
It's funny because me and Coach just had a conversation a day or two ago about that very topic. We are diehard Star Wars fans. We're definitely going to always cover Star Wars and what's going on. but me and Coach are seriously considering, and more than likely probably going to be branching out and doing other things. Like right now, I'm taking Coach through Deep Space Nine for his very first time, and we're recording and reacting to every single episode. We're on the last 2 episodes of season 1. So we're doing that, and then as soon as we finish that, neither one of us have ever seen the Orville, so we're going to start the Orville and do reaction videos to that and talk about that, and then we're going to look at other stuff in the news and entertainment that we like. He's I think he went and saw Top Gun today, so we're probably going to do a video talking about that and covering that. So I think that we are literally going to start branching out and covering a wider range of stuff that we're into and that we like. Well, we'll still cover, some of the Star Wars stuff when it comes out. We're really looking forward to, moving on.
You're gonna have to change your name to Empire Strikes Out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Captain Trek had to change his name to Captain Fandom Nerd because he felt that Star Trek was just too damaged. He didn't want his channel named after that. But PJ, thank God you're not gonna have to hide in shame from Orville Nation because the Orville's back and it's strong.
Yeah, buddy.
And we're going to talk about that in this next segment. I'm going to do some super chats here, but then we're going to talk about the Orville. But before we do, I want to just say thank you to Nick at Echo Base Network or Empire Strikes Out Network or whatever they're going to change their name to eventually, because, we really wanted you here to talk about this lamentable chapter in Star Wars history, Nick. And really thank you.
Pleasure.
And glad to have you here for your insight, and you've just been a hell of a good friend. Please plug Echo Base Network before you head on out.
Yeah, so I'm one half of Echo Base Strikes Out, our new channel name. We are primarily a Star Wars channel, like I said, but we're going to start doing other things. Come check us out. If you guys haven't seen our sequel trilogy documentary that Doomcock narrated, it's our second highest most viewed video on our channel with like 250,000 views on it, which is pretty good for us. We're still a small channel, but it's a great documentary, and we're actually working on our second one right now. So, which is going to be on the rise and fall of LucasArts gaming, which will be an interesting one.
Sounds good, brother. Please subscribe to Echo Base Network, folks. And thank you, Nick, so much.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Nick.
Absolutely.
Take care,
Absolutely
Nick.
happy to do it.
Bye, guys.
Good night, my friend. All right. As Kelvington is reminding me, it is time now for some super chats. So let's go ahead and get right to them, my friends. Let's see. What do we got here? Michael Maloney with a $3 super sticker of Bushiba, all happy and saying, my hero. Thank you, Michael Maloney. Hail to you, my friend. And Tony Stark, the great Tony Stark with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tony. Says, hail from Stark Tower to the center of the earth. Thank you, Tony Stark. Thank you for reinforcing Harvey's, containment field as well. You saved our ass this last Friday when he got outraged and tried to get out. Thank you, Tony. Beth Arstead with a $3 super sticker of a lime, doing waving some pom-poms around, doing some cheering. Thank you, Beth. We appreciate you. Hail to the Minister of Mirth, and hope you're enjoying the show tonight. Proto Badger with a $4 super chat. Thank you, Proto Badger, offering a toast of a mug, I think probably full of bourbon or some other delectable. Thank you, Proto Badger, and my best to Mrs. Proto Badger as well. And Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack White. Says, hail, my lord. Did you get the email with the links for the promos for Yu Yu Hakusho I sent you last Sunday? Yes, my friend, I did. And I will reply to you. I'm going to check them out, and I will get back to you on that, Jack. Thank you, sir, for thinking of me and sending me that info. And douchebag Kylo with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, douchebag Kylo. Says, Harvey, I might go see the new Top Gun in IMAX. I hear it makes Tom Cruise look almost 5 feet tall.
Nice.
Oh, thank you, douchebag Kylo. I like that. Yeah, boy, if you see him in IMAX, he looks almost lifelike. It's weird. SHS Rebels 08. Don't talk about Xenu to him, though. Don't talk about Xenu. SHS Rebels 08 with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says the Orville was worth the wait. Hail panel, Sabu, Harvey, and Doomcock. Thank you, SHS Rebels 08. Thank you, SHS Rebels 08, and hail to you, sir. Hail to you. And let me see, where are we? The Happy Plague Doctor with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Happy Plague Doctor. Says, I bought a giant classic accordion at an auction cheap yesterday. Looking forward to learning how to play. Song suggestions? Why not do Bella Notte from Lady and the Tramp? That's a good accordion kind of song. I can't sing it, of course. It's Disney. Never do anything Disney because they're, litigation happy. But hell, why not? I think it's a great song. Thank you, the Happy Plague Doctor. Pretty song from back when Disney, was actually for family entertainment, etc., and so on. Not now. Andrew Randell with a $20 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Andrew. Says, hail Overlord DVD. I certainly hope you have a much better night than last night. Yes, Andrew. I hope so as well. I hope so as well. God bless you, Andrew Randell, and it's always good to see you here, my friend. Darth Tony 1976 with an incredibly generous $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Darth Tony 1976. And Darth Tony says, hail, brother. My long fight with the VA to get 100% disability is over, and I came out on top. Here's a little something for always being there when it almost got too hard to bear. Thank you again, brother. Oh, you're welcome, Darth Tony. You're very welcome. You're part of our family here on the channel, and we all support each other. In the good times and the bad times, brother. I'm really happy that you got that because it was deserved, and you needed it, and thank God that the government is taking care of its own. Thank you, Darth Tony 1976, and God bless you, sir. And really appreciate your generosity. And I'm glad that things are looking up for you. And Darth Tony 1976 also upgraded their channel membership to the Arch Villain level. Thank you, Darth Tony 1976. God bless. We've got another Arch Villain in the family. That's outstanding. And the Lost Wanderer has been a channel member for 9 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, the Lost Wanderer. It says, great to be a part of this community for 7 months. I'm delighted, man. Absolutely delighted. Hail to you, Lost Wanderer, and hail to all of my channel members. God bless you all for the support. And Von Max with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Von Max, says, hail all. Saw Kenobi and got mad and depressed. I then saw the multiple universe movie and absolutely loved it. Michael Yeoh, James Hong, and Short Round were fantastic. Did any of you guys see it? The multiple universe movie? You're talking about Doctor
Everything
Strange?
all at once. No, everything everywhere all at once.
Oh, no, I have not seen that. I've heard it was pretty good, though. Anybody else? Do y'all agree with Von Max that it was a great movie, that y'all loved it?
It's pretty good for being a very low budget film. Back to Super Chats.
All right. Thank you, Von Max. Canadian Spider-Man, who's been a channel member for 22 months at the Dominion level and a wrench. Thank you, Canadian Spider-Man. Says, happy Sunday, Doomcock. Keep on doing what you do. I will. I absolutely don't know what else to do, Canadian Spider-Man. And even though I have to call it like it is and sometimes bring you guys bad news about the demise of, well, everything over at Lucasfilm, we keep pressing on. We keep holding their feet to the fire. We keep making them accountable. They want to go ahead and play that racist card on us just because we're calling out their subpar product. We are the consumers. We are the ones that pay them for this entertainment. And if we are not entertained as customers, we have the absolute right to let them know of our dissatisfaction. And you can go ahead and call us every goddamn name in the book. It's not going to shut me up. It's not going to shut anybody up because we're not going to be gaslit. We're not going to take your little blue pills. Fuck you. We're going to keep telling the truth. And Donna Smith with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Donna. Says, hail, Lord Doomcock. Keep on keeping on. Respect. Thank you, Donna Smith. Without respect, we reject. And that scene where Darth Vader lets Obi-Wan go just because he can't remember how to do the Force through flame. He can't remember to blow out the flames when he just did it a minute ago. Fuck! How stupid do you think we are? Seriously. At some point, it just gets, I mean, it's not even a question of canon. It's not even a question of fucking character. It's just terrible fucking writing. Why in God's name wouldn't Vader just extinguish the flames like he did the first time? Good God in heaven, how fucking stupid. It's not even like he did it an episode ago. He literally just fucking did it. It was like 3 or 4 minutes. You can't even do it again? Fuck you. How stupid do you think we are? Without respect, we reject. And treating us like we're brain-damaged nincompoops stupid enough to actually be writing on the Lucasfilm story group is no way to show us respect. Fuck you. Seriously, God damn it. God damn it. How... Seriously, it just fucking drives me nuts. Back to super chats. I knew Kelvington was thinking it, so I'm going to say it. God damn. I mean, seriously, though. They're treating us like we're fucking stupid. Like we can't even remember a few minutes ago. A few fucking minutes ago. And we just saw him lift up Obi-Wan in the fucking sky with the Force. He can reach through the flames and yank him back. God almighty. What is the point of watching anymore when they're going to treat us like we're brain-damaged idiots?
I'm ready for Harvey's reign.
God. Oh, I'm sorry, but I do not like them treating me or my folks or my friends and like we're fucking stupid. And there's still people that are lapping this shit up. I don't know.
Not many.
I hope it's less and less the more that they think about it. And I had to sound the alarm about this Last Jedi nonsense because I swear to God, that's exactly what KK is doing all over again.
Yep.
Silent Watcher with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Silent Watcher. Says, regarding why the fire stopped Vader, the theory that's flying around is Vader wants Obi-Wan to suffer. Don't know the weight to that theory. I think it's weightless. I think it's a completely silly theory because Vader can certainly let Obi-Wan suffer in captivity. Doesn't he want Obi-Wan to suffer and he can observe it and he can cause it? He can torture Obi-Wan. He can talk to Obi-Wan. He can, I mean, what good is it knowing he's suffering from afar? What are they going to be, pen pals? Obi-Wan, hi, how are you doing? Are you suffering?
Make you watch Disney Star Wars.
Oh my God damn. Thank you, Silent Watcher. I don't hold that. I think that's a ridiculous rationalization. Yeah, of course he wants Obi-Wan to suffer, but he wants to do it himself. He doesn't just want to hear about it by a carrier pigeon or rumor or some shit. Beth Arstead with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Beth. Beth says, anyone else notice how Kenobi is interacting with Leia in the same aggrieved manner he did with Padawan Anakin? Shouldn't his trauma affect him here too? Make him less lenient with her to keep her from her father's path? Yeah, I agree, Beth. I agree entirely. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I've heard a nasty little rumor that I mean, and this wasn't from sources. This was actually from somebody that said they heard this rumor elsewhere on Friday Night Frolics. And they told me this, and I said, if they do this, then Star Wars, I mean, it's beyond dead. I mean, this would be absolutely, in any stretch of the imagination, the last straw. If Leia in this show saves Obi-Wan Kenobi at some point using the Force. I mean, when somebody said that, I was just stopped in my tracks and I thought, oh my God, that is exactly the shit that Kathleen Kennedy would pull.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, it would violate canon, which is something she loves to do, because in Return of the Jedi, she told Luke, no, I could never, I don't have your kind of power. I could never do the things you do. So if she did it as a kid, That completely fucks that. So yeah,
It
awful.
could still happen.
Oh, it would be the worst thing that they ever could have done. I mean, it would make everything they did it would be so ludicrous. If they do that, and I'm not saying they are, because that's not my rumor. Like I said, it's not from my sources. Just somebody said that it's going around that they've redone the ending, that Reva's going to go on to a season 2 of Kenobi. And I mean, I wouldn't put that past Kathleen at all. But they also then said this shit about Leia is going to save Obi-Wan. And I'm like, fuck, they do that. It's oof. My head will.
You can rest easy. That does not happen.
Okay. I hope that's right. I hope that they're not redoing some shit, but thank God. Okay. Thank God. Amplify Create with a very, very generous 50-pound super chat. Hail to you, Amplify Create. Extremely generous, sir. Consider yourself a producer for tonight's show. And Amplify Create says, I have to admit, DC, I've been feeling terribly depressed this weekend for various reasons and unable to sleep. What a relief to find you online for some great escapism. Please be aware how much that means for those in a tough place. Love from London. Hail to you, Amplify Create, and I'm glad that we are here for you, man. And I get you. I mean, these are depressing times. There's so many things going on in the world, between plagues and war and cultural vandalism and strife and unrest, political shenanigans. It's a terrible time, and it is not an unreasonable or insane reaction to find yourself depressed, stressed, and unable to sleep. I myself have sleep issues, my friend, and also issues with depression. Drop me a line, Amplify Create, at dictorvandoomcock@gmail.com. My wrenches will put a link in the chat for my email, and let me know what's going on, man. Let me hear from you, and we'll talk. Thank you, Amplify Create. God bless you. Darth Eclipse with a $4 Canadian. Oh, it just jumped on me. Sorry. Oh gosh. Okay. All right, it jumped on me a lot. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Darth Eclipse with a $4 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Darth. Says, hail DC and panel. Not even mad, just heartbroken. I hear you, man. I hear you, and I'm sorry. I feel the same way. Although I am fucking angry as hell, as you could tell. Mike D with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike. Says the right thing for Disney to do is sell it back to George at a 75% discount. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? God, wouldn't that be a great money-making scheme? He let them have it for a few years, and they had to sell it back to him in tatters. And he said, well, hiring Kathy was the best thing I ever did. Yeah. And then the next thing he says, you're fired. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Hail, Mike D. Infinite Main, who's been a channel member of mine for 10 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, Infinite Main, says, hail all. Disney went and botched their last chance. Agreed, Infinite Main. Agreed. I mean, we'll see how it ends. But at this point, it certainly seems like they have screwed their very, very last chance, their best chance to do something good. Toddzilla with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Toddzilla. Says, much like nothing in Picard is real because the interdimensional monsters came and destroyed the universe. Here. Thank you, sir. The Kenobi series isn't real because Kenobi and Vader should never have met. Canon violation. Oh, yeah. Canon violation with Leia, too. She doesn't say, General Kenobi, years ago you saved my ass when I fell off a building after I had run away as a little kid, and I'm begging you to help me against the Empire. No. She says, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. She never mentions having met him or being saved by him. It's complete crap. This whole thing is fan fiction written by people who are not fans. And Infinite Main with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Infinite Main. Says, unfortunately, the only way to salvage this show is for Kenobi to wake up in the last episode and realize it was all a bad dream. And then Boba Fett steps out of the shower and says, hey, Obi-Wan, what's up? And we're back to where we started. No back to tank. Todd Vandersis, who's been a channel member for 7 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, Todd. Says taps for Star Wars. Thank you, Todd Vandersis. I think it pretty much is the tolling of the bells for Star Wars at this point. If they can't even get this right, what's the fucking point? Seriously. Digi Akuma, who's been a channel member for 31 months at the Dumentide level. Thank you, Digi Akuma, says, hail everyone. Quick question in Kenobi and thoughts. There's Imperial female officers in the EU, but female stormtroopers? Were there any in the EU? I forgot. I don't remember them specifically mentioning female stormtroopers in the EU, but I'm certain there probably is some out there. Anybody big on the EU that knows offhand immediately? Any of you guys know?
PJ?
I think there were no female stormtroopers from what I know. There were officers, but no stormtroopers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, they were. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I think that's. I think the answer is no. There. I think Digi Akuma. I think that's a good question. And Toddzilla with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Toddzilla. Says we shouldn't be blaming KK. We should be blaming Frank Marshall. What has he done to make her hate men so much? I don't know if she hates men so much as hates the idea of capable masculinity. I think she absolutely despises capable masculinity. I just don't know. And we're going to go ahead and get to the rest of these super chats here. I promise you, but we do have a birthday to celebrate here. And I understand that it's Andy Masterson's birthday. Andy, are you around? You're muted right now.
I am sorry. My dog's been sick all week, so I had to run out and make sure she was okay.
Well, I think we've got a little bit of a little surprise here. I think we should go ahead and sing happy birthday to Andy. What do you say? Shall we, guys? In our best out of sync, horrible manner? All right. And 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andy. Happy birthday to you. Yay! Happy birthday.
Many more.
And
Thank you very much.
Have you got something to say to Andy here?
What's that? Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm a little drunk. Yeah, I have I prepared. Well, the bakery has prepared this little miniature 1/6 scale cake for Andy Matheson. So, without further ado, I would like to light it. There we go. Happy birthday!
You should look
Happy
at your
birthday!
buddy.
Yay.
Oh! Oh no!
Look at that with a lightsaber.
If anybody from the bakery is watching, I'm gonna kill you.
You're despicable.
Happy birthday, Andy. Sorry. Boy, Gary made the sacrifice again. He has been blown up more times on this show than anybody else on YouTube.
It's all over my microphone, man.
Oh,
Damn
man. Oh,
You
man.
gotta post
Happy
pictures of that on
birthday,
Twitter.
Andy. I'm sorry. They got me again.
I want
Damn
to
it.
be I want to be Gary's insurance agent for his all of his hardware.
I know.
Yeah.
Poor Gary, man. He brings it. He brings it to the show.
It's
And,
everywhere.
what a great
That's
guy.
the best we've ever sung, though. We have never
was
got
good.
it closer than that. And I noticed Gary was not singing, so I'm not going
I
to
was
say
doing
that's the reason.
semaphore. I was
reason we
doing
did so
semaphore without flags and sign language. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Andy, and thank you, Gary, for sacrificing once again.
Where'd you get that cupcake, Gary? Acme?
Huh?
The Acme
Yeah. Right?
cupcake company?
Guy named Wiley Coyote. Super
No,
genius.
it's the
Super
Acme
genius.
Bakery. It's a very bad thing.
Ironically, that's their name. Yeah.
Wow.
Should have known.
I don't know, Gary. It's like birthdays are going to be the death of Gary. On my birthday, he almost fell off of the top of Vasquez Rocks, plummeted to
Wow.
his death.
That was
on
terrifying.
was it Mexican Iron Man's birthday when you blew up that cake and it completely
I didn't blow it up. It was the bakery.
yeah
I was the victim. I'm the victim, man.
Yeah. And now this. I mean, birthdays are death days potentially for
monitor.
Gary Ambrosia. So
Jeez.
they have to be careful. All right. And in that spirit of convivial, camaraderie, let's talk about the Orville. Let's move on to some good news, folks. The Orville returns. The Orville has returned after 3 long years, and our long national nightmare is over. Good. No great television has returned, and now great television has returned, and this time it's on Hulu. The dream sequence opening of the show helps to highlight the series' amazing new look and feel. There are new looks to the sets. The shuttlecraft are much sleeker than they were. There's even a new captain's chair, and there's a new polish on the ship itself. This is a fascinating upgrade to the Orville, and it was sensational. The episode begins with the amazing sequence they gave us as a trailer to the new season. That sequence turns out to be a nightmare that Marcus is having, complete with a demonized Isaac at the end of it. Turns out that Marcus and many other members of the crew are not thrilled to be serving with Isaac again. The entire episode deep dives into the concepts of PTSD, loss, grief, and suicide. This is not a whiz-bang shoot-'em-up episode. While there is plenty of that, this is a deep, thoughtful exploration into what it means to be serving next to and being friends with someone who has killed people you cared for, and his species was and still is at war with humans. Not only do a number of the crew of the Orville hate Isaac, Marcus himself wishes him dead, a request that Isaac attempts to grant by attempting suicide. Now, we know in the back of our mind this isn't going to stick, but a great deal of the episode is based on the concept of not only deciding whether to bring Isaac back, but also trying to come up with some kind of internal peace with the whole situation involving Isaac and the Kalon. Now, this includes the addition of a new navigator, Ensign Burke, Charlie Burke, which may be a direct shot at Michael Burnham, giving a female ensign a masculine name. Anyway, Ensign Charlie Burke, who has directly suffered loss at the hands of the Kalon attack. She has skills that will be needed to save Isaac's life, and she refuses to help him. A majority of the episode is spent dealing with the pain of loss, from watching Ty recreate a version of Isaac in the holodeck to seeing Claire break down in the same holodeck after recreating the place where she and Isaac had their first date. This show manages to show and make you feel real loss and concern for their friend, not by heavy-handed moments like we get in STD when Michael Burnham cries at the drop of a fucking hat, but in showing the small, tender moments of people affected by the suicide of a colleague. Most of the main cast is put on the back burner in this episode, leaving the emotional exploration to those who worked with and were closer to Isaac. Considering this is the introduction to Ensign Burke, she goes through a great story arc of hatred to acceptance in a very real and meaningful way, something STD has never even come close to doing. In the end, Isaac is restored, and even he must go through therapy, promising never to try and do something like that again. The Orville is off to an amazing start with this opening and poignant episode. And we are very fortunate, blessed even, I would say, to have with us an expert on the Orville with us today, none other than PJ of Orville Nation. And PJ, what did you think of this episode?
Well, first of all, I like the way you summed that up, and I would say that Doomcock is also an expert.
But not as much as you are. I think you really you nail it. You know this stuff inside and out, but I thank you for that.
Well, I love the episode. I think that it was. I think this episode was a choice by Seth and by the production crew to make a statement. You guys will notice that the tone was a little more serious than other episodes. Very much like the Identity 1 and 2 were a little more serious. And I think it was a statement saying that the Orville is here and we mean business. And that's what I felt from watching this. And at the same time, they really went into this great social commentary Let me say it, and I don't want to say again that I'm a therapist, but I am, and I thought it was extremely well handled. The whole and I don't know, I don't want to talk too much about spoilers, but the fact that they go from from bullying to isolation to overstep with the adolescents who are overstepping their bounds and criticizing others, to the fact that somebody feels it's important to self-delete. I thought that was very well represented, and I just realized earlier today, as a professor, I might actually even use this in class. I mean, I think it was that well, put together.
It was. This is going to be indicative of Seth basically deciding that he wants to make this more in line with Star Trek in terms of not being as funny. Taking a more balanced approach, which I honestly don't know how I feel about it, because I always really loved the humor in the Orville so much, but this definitely worked. I guess we're going to have to see, but I don't know. I mean, how did you feel about it, PJ? I love the humor of the Orville. I love the Orville being the Orville. I didn't feel like it was inferior to Star Trek. I thought it was actually kind of a next step, an evolution of Star Trek, because they weren't all, as I said many times before, they don't only look at Shakespeare and listen to string quartets and famous poetry. They're listening to Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Barry Manilow, and all the shit that we love. And I'm going to miss that. I hope they're not getting away from that entirely.
Well, there's some people. All right, so there were some people who expressed a little bit concern and with that online, and so we saw some of that addressed by more specifically by Tom Costantino on Twitter, and that this was that they will be returning to some of that. Let me share this idea with you. When I watch the Orville, I think a lot about MASH. And when you think about MASH, you think about this crazy, zany MASH. And then you also think about this very serious and dire, wartime show. And I think that they're going in the direction of, we're still going to have this craziness and this fun, but we're also going to push the limits and see where we can go. Because remember, Seth, what he wanted was to do Trek.
Right.
Of course,
right.
he does comedy too. He does it very well. By the way, I think you're right. I think the comedy component in the Orville I think it's lightning in a bottle. I think the formula was perfect. I don't think they're walking away from the formula. I think they're we'll see by the end of the season what it's like. But I think that they're experimenting with giving us both sides of an experience.
Yeah, it was very good. I was the only thing that struck me that I thought was interesting was, after all this time away, that they came back with an episode that was a downer in a lot of ways, in terms of the emotional, the darkness that they were showing in some of the crew, and the weighty topic of suicide. And it's like, man, that was a bold choice. And it was kind of like, if they weren't going to do it now, they probably weren't going to be able to do it at all, because now would be the time to do it. But it was a bold choice to start out their return after years, hopefully getting a new audience with something this weighty and frankly kind of sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that there's two things there. I think that there's, first of all, the whole Isaac thing. If you notice, after Identity Part 1 and 2, there's not much in, like, Isaac is kind of just like there, but he's not really addressed much. And I think in order for them to move forward with the whole season, because we've been speculating about this for 3 years, how are people going to feel after the Planetary Union has been invaded by the Kalon. There's all this shuffling around now of personnel from ship to ship. There's new ships. So Charlie Burke is new on the Orville. How are all these people who didn't know Isaac before gonna react to Isaac?
Yeah.
And I think they had to address this to move forward.
They did.
I also think you're right. I think it was a very bold choice for a first episode.
It was. I would like to throw this open. Kelvington, what were your impressions of Orville New Horizons?
I really truly loved it. When they showed that trailer originally, which was very fancy, like it was like they had spent a lot of money to do that trailer, and it was like 2.5, 3 minutes. I was wondering, like, how could they top that? And the idea that they made it into a dream sequence that seemed very real, and then made Isaac into a demon at the end was really good. The things that they hit on were, like it was kind of a slow burn when she's talking to Isaac and telling him, like, nobody wants you here. You've killed people we love. And then, to see this graffiti, painted, like we kind of think of that as something we only do now, but it's existed for a long time. And the fact it carries on to their reality was great. And Seth MacFarlane, I'm not the biggest fan of his acting, but he did some great acting here. And they sort of hit all the right points. We got to see the opening had a little tribute to Norm Macdonald, and we got to see him inside of a spacesuit and things of that nature. But everybody did a wonderful job on this episode. And, I'll admit, I did kind of think like, well, they're not going to kill this guy off. I'd have been shocked if they'd have killed Isaac off permanently, like let him come back in 4 or 5 episodes. But the way it was all put together, how the scientist was in bed with his girlfriend, and he figures out, wait, maybe there's a way to bring Isaac back. And he has like a methodology and comes up with it. And it's very clever. And there was some humorous moments in it, but there were no big jokes here. And, you got to see a quick Kalon battle. It lasted for, 5 or 7 minutes. And I was very impressed with everything that they had done. And when they had brought Isaac back and they put him into therapy with everybody else, and Claire is questioning him like, you won't do this again. You need to promise me. And when they show a kind of a close-up on what is essentially a bucket, I actually was like very impressed. You were able to get emotion out of a bucket. And, yes, I don't want to see him do this again. And I just thought it was a wonderful start to something we hadn't seen in 3 years. I don't know that they need the jokey joke kind of humor, but there were enough little laughs and a little, moments in here that it was amusing. And it felt like a very real journey these characters took for the hour and 6 minutes. And I know one of the things that I've read that they said, like, Seth is very happy he does not have to fit everything into 42 minutes. So you're going to see some episodes are going to be an hour in length, and some will be 52, and some might be even shorter. So I think that's a great way to look at things. We don't have to fit everything into 42 minutes or what used to be 53 minutes. But overall, I loved it. I thought it was really an enjoyable episode, and they should be applauded to come back after 3 years and kicks ass that well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really struck me is that there is more sincere emotion in this single episode of the Orville than there is in the entirety of every single Star Trek series that Kurtzman has put together since 2017. I mean, these are real people, and they started out being very jokey, lots of belly laughs and strange situations and stuff, but they really do care about each other. They really do have emotions. I can buy that these are real people, and I worry about them when they are, under attack or when they're depressed. And I've never worried about anyone on STD or a puke hard, Lower Decks, Strange New Woke. None of these shows has ever moved me to anything but rage and nausea. Literally, I've never felt a damn thing for these people, except I want them to die. I want them to die, all of them, but not the Orville. And the warmth of it, the warmth of the crew and how they feel towards each other is incredibly reminiscent of original Star Trek and Next Generation. PJ, wouldn't you say that maybe that is one of the greatest assets of the Orville, is that it truly is a show with real characters that genuinely seem to have emotions and lives outside of their roles on the ship?
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, I'll ask everybody this question. Did it feel like a movie to you guys? Because that's the intention. Their intention is to give like 10 mini movies to the fans. Did it feel like a movie to you guys?
It did. It was an hour and 10 minutes, and it felt it never felt rushed. It didn't feel condensed. It felt like a genuinely like a short feature. But I'll throw that open to everybody. What did you guys think?
Yes.
Kelvington, did it feel
Absolutely.
like a movie?
Yeah. And it, like, I think I've gotten used to things like Stranger Things and other shows like that, and The Boys, that are doing hour-long episodes. So it was good, but it has a great scope. Like they spend time outside the ship, and they bring in a new shuttlecraft and things of that nature. And all those scenes were very good and very theatrical in nature. Like, I would kind of like to go see this on a big screen if possible.
It really does look good on a big. I've got the big home theater screen, and it was kind of breathtaking. They retextured the Orville and made it somewhat reflective, so it has a gleam to it. It seems more real. Clobbering Times, you have put Bortus as your avatar there. Does this mean that the Orville met with your approval?
Oh my goodness! I like everyone has already said, I loved it. I was so happy. I thought it was brilliant, and I think a lot of this has been covered to touch on something that Kelvington touched on a little bit. One of the things that is most impressive about how brilliantly this episode is directed by Seth MacFarlane, for me, was the scene at the table when, after Charlie, tells him, talks to him, and we get that in a few other shots later throughout the episode, shots of with no background music or anything, of just that blank face of Isaac. Just two, blue dots, and that's it. And more emotion is coming from the way that thing is shot, the way that thing is filmed, and there's the whole mood of it after what has been said to him. You see the emotions, for somehow you feel it. I don't know why, because you can't see a thing. You feel it because of how well this show is written, and you know that it's stirring inside him. Guilt, he has that because he has become a sentient. He's become a sentient being, whether he wanted to or not. In my opinion, the character of Isaac, and he is feeling it, and for them to able to make you work up empathy and sympathy for this character, who has been through, was very dangerous, but did save everyone as well, is quite remarkable. It is an absolutely brilliant achievement that, in my opinion, this episode, because of the direction and because of what was done with the character of Isaac in general. I love the whole thing, of course, but Isaac, I think it's a bold choice going with a bit of a downer to open up. This was very uncomfortable to watch in a good way, to open up with a downer like that. But it showed, you can do it if it's good. And this was, in my opinion, brilliant. I absolutely loved every second of it. I've watched it a couple of times already, and it packs a great emotional punch.
It does. And the music is great. The effects are great. The acting is great. The writing is top notch. It feels like old Star Trek, and that is a great thing.
It does, absolutely. There's even some great spectacle. We get a lot of the effects and a lot of the stuff, with the ships and everything like that. Even it's almost like a touch of Star Wars in the sense that Star Wars is largely about spectacle. Well, now Star Wars is Sand Wars, so it has nothing to do with stars. So in here you get, I don't call it Star Wars anymore. It's Sand Wars forever for me now. The Disney trash, and this. Even though this is because this is the home of Star Trek now. Star Trek has a pseudonym, and it's called the Orville, and has been for a while. We've gotten Star Trek back, but it even gives you the spectacle that you want from a Star Wars as well in just a few scenes with that. What was it called? Starship porn.
Yeah,
it's beautiful to look at. Great characterization. You've all covered it all pretty well already, so I'll let someone else talk.
Well, Andy, you birthday boy, did you see it?
I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and I realized because I've been watching season 2 with my son, and it's been a while since I've seen it. I really wanted to refresh up on everything before I really got into it. But you know, the thing about this is like the writing in it, it's smart. It's like, you know, people actually put some thought into like the stories and the characters, and they make really, there's consistency. And that's like what's really lacking, because like, I mean, I think everybody's like they're writing for the message and all that, and they're not sticking to a character, and like their character is so superficial. It's just like, how can they push the message forward? And with this, like, everybody is so fleshed out, and it's been that way from like, even in like the opening scenes in the first episode, where, you know, Mercer is meeting everybody, and he kind of gives you like a background of everybody, you know, and that's the starting point. But everybody's so fleshed out. It's really, and I mean, you know, sometimes like the humor is a little bit like offsetting, like it's you know, you're kind of in a serious thing, and then it has some of the like you know, a little bit of crude humor, which I'm not above, but yeah, there's a beauty to this thing that's just like, it's almost like a home for like, McFarlane's holding up a sign out there for people and say, hey, talented writers, if you want someplace to go to, come on over here and we'll help you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do such a great job on it. PJ, I hear that this season is going to really, really just blow out all the stops and be the best damn season that they've had so far. That it really is going to, like, people are going to get their minds blown by how great this stuff is. Is that what you've heard?
Yeah. I mean, they were telling us that that this cinematic experience that was kind of just introduced in the first episode is going to be prevalent throughout this. It's going to feel more cinematic than television, and it's going to be it's going to really blow us away, supposedly. I think what's going to happen, and you can listen. Kenobi has not that I trust Rotten Tomatoes, but Kenobi has 59% audience score. The Orville has, I think, 83. I think you can already see a shift, and you know, this is under the Disney umbrella. We will see what the we will see how the Orville's success will affect how much money they're given. If the fans show up for the Orville, they're hoping to get the money they need for seasons 4 and 5. So
I hope to God that we can make that happen. And I guess that hasn't been decided yet.
Well, of course we don't know anything, but I think it's pretty clear that Seth wants to make it. But again, he needs us on board, and because this is a big project, and I think my gut feeling is that he wants to take this as far as it can go. And what we might not even recognize the Orville 4 or 5 years from now, like in the sense that who knows what might happen, a spinoff, a movie, season 8 of the Orville, who knows? I really think he wants to take it as far as he can.
They'd be fools not to. Hulu would be insane not to, because this is the closest thing we have to Star Trek left, and there's no limit to where it could go. I mean, we could have 6, 7, 8 Orville movies, spin-off shows, animated series. It could be incredible. It's a gold mine just waiting to happen.
Can I also just remind everybody that David A. Goodman, along with the illustrator David Cabeza, have done these great Orville comics that, because I've been moving around a lot, I have not addressed yet on my channel, but I do. JP has been reading them for a while. But if you guys want more Orville after this season is over, go pick up the comics, because they're kind of between the seasons, so you'll enjoy it.
That sounds
the ones
great.
I've read have been good. Yeah, they have. I haven't read them all yet, but they've been very good. Yeah.
That's good to know. So, folks, go and check out the Orville. Subscribe to Hulu. It'll really help. We've got to support quality entertainment that is brought to us with care and respect. With respect, we accept. That's a crucial part of the formula, folks, and we've got to accept it. And I'm.
Did you like the homage to Blade Runner with the electric sheep title?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And also, one of the characters markedly says in this episode, "Stay angry," and I just can't help but wonder.
Really?
Mhm.
Didn't you catch that?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Charlie,
you're right.
Says it to Gordon.
Yes, Gordon says, and remember, stay angry.
Yeah,
And I just wonder if that was
she did.
a little tip of the hat
Wow.
to yours truly.
I got to go back.
Coincidence?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Charlie said that to Gordon.
What were the exact words? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact words.
Oh, take the masochism, right?
Yeah.
And something like that, and use. I forget what it was.
No,
Oh,
but
wow.
she did. That's right, though.
But then pointedly says, "Stay angry," and that's
TM.
I just wonder if that was a little tip of the hat because they know I love them. I used to talk to Tom, here and there on Twitter, and I would be very grateful if that was the case. Because also I think the Charlie thing was a shot at Mikey Spock, just like because she's kind of the bestest ever too. Only they did it right with her, because she is incredibly gifted in terms of this ability to manipulate 4D space, but she was also kind of an asshole, and yet she learns at the end, unlike Mikey Spock, who never learned. And just like they had the tardigrade, remember they had the alien tardigrade. I think they're taking the piss on Kurtzman and all that shit, and that's another reason why I love them.
Doomcock, did you like the fact that they used the entire first episode? I mean, it was really more about Isaac, but the new character was introduced during the first episode. Did you like or dislike the fact that they used the first episode for that? They introduced her.
No, I think it makes sense. I mean, new crew, new everything. Yeah, I think it did. But boy, she was really hateful for a lot of it. But then she learned. She just learned. So I think that's fantastic. Kelvington, I think we got to go to Super Chats. We still have a whole bunch left.
Absolutely. Burn them Super Chats.
Let's go ahead and get to that. And I'm going to go ahead and embiggen the chat so you guys can see yourselves as we read these off. And thank you guys for your patience. Digi Akuma with a $5 Super Chat. Thank you, Digi Akuma. Says, had to ask regarding the female stormtroopers or lack thereof in Kenobi and EU canon. He says, I had to ask because that's the one thing that made me go, huh? Obviously, it's more diversity and inclusion on Disney's part, but I've never heard of a femme trooper until now. Well, notice how they made Obi-Wan Kenobi bow down and grovel before this female stormtrooper. Did you notice that? I mean, it was very pointed that Obi-Wan has to bow down to a woman. Obi-Wan has to run away from a woman. He runs away from Reva. And of course, Obi-Wan gets saved by a woman and also gets tucked back to by a little girl. So all in all, he's drowning in estrogen out there. And yeah, this show is shit. Nicholas Horton with a 3-pound super sticker of Bushiba saying, how's it going? I think it's going pretty good, Nicholas Horton. How are you doing? Thank you, Nicholas, and stay away from Kenobi. It's just going to break your heart. Susan Dolan with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Susan. Says the reason they want to make all the villains the hero is they are part of a cult mindset that, as the Bible states, call evil good and good evil. This is what's called the unforgivable sin. Thank you, Susan Dolan. It does indeed seem like there's something weird, cultish, and methodical about the way that they are just systematically destroying modern pop culture, particularly masculinity in pop culture. Oh, there's nothing they hate more than masculine men. Isn't that true? And Lord of the Eagles Reaches, who's been a channel member for 31 months at the Dumentite level. Thank you, my lord. Says intelligent sci-fi is dead. Today's writers aren't capable of writing complex, competent characters. Never mind science fiction. Very true. Very true. Lord of the Eagles Reaches. Certainly in science fiction and fantasy. That is entirely true, except, of course, for The Expanse and the Orville. There are exceptions, but mostly in Hollywood, it's just a wasteland. And Rancor Steve is back with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Rancor Steve. Hail to you, my friend. He says, hail, everyone. Talk to me, Goose. Yeah, he went into the danger zone and liked what he saw. Hail, Rancor Steve, and hail to Top Gun Maverick, which I'm going to go see like Monday or Tuesday. Thank you, Rancor Steve. I'm looking forward to it, finally. Fat Steven Seagal, who was a guest on our show very recently with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Fats. Says Obi-Wan Kenobi, sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Thank you, Fat Steven Seagal. And please subscribe to Fat Steven Seagal. He deserves your attention and your support. Digi Akuma with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Digi Akuma. Says, also remember the time paradox game over screen in Metal Gear Solid 3. Felt like Kenobi was lacking that for Reva killing GI and Kenobi and Vader's duel. Yeah. Vader's duel was a joke. I basically just had Vader smacking down Obi-Wan Kenobi like he was a little punk that had never handled fucking lightsaber. I mean, Kylo Ren would have done better. This is how they treat our heroes. This is what they think of us. What they're doing to Kenobi is exactly what they're doing to all the white males and males in general. They hate masculinity in general, but particularly when that masculine is of the, shall we say, chromically challenged, aka white folks. Thank you, Digi Akuma, very much for that super chat. And Darth Eclipse, who's been a channel member for 20 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, Darth Eclipse. Says, may have blown their chance with me. This one hurt. Sure did. I mean, I sure don't get a lot of fun out of watching our hero Obi-Wan Kenobi running around like a chicken shit, running away from everything that he can get away from, being handled like a punk and dragged through fire. Did the guy ever learn the Force? Did he ever use the Force? This is sick. And Scott Hudson, the poet laureate of Friday Night Frolics, with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Scott. Says Disney's fake Star Wars is one monster turd. We're Johnny Depp and they're Amber Heard. How effing low can these woke assholes stoop? Glad to gift every fan's head with their poop. See? A poet laureate, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Hudson. Thank you for that poem, Scott. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being talented. You magnificent son of a gun. And Troy Neenan with a $5 Australian super chat. Thank you, Troy. Says, I just slapped a Star Wars sticker on this twig I found. $2,000 and it's yours. No thanks. Might have paid that back in, I don't know, 1995 or something like that. But now, yeah, it's played out. That's a mine that has gone fallow. There's no more gold in there. It's just pyrite and Mickey Mouse ears. Thank you, Troy Neenan. And Wispy Druid with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Wispy Druid. Says, I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Darth Vader me watching episode 3 of Kenobi. Yeah. None of these lines from the original trilogy now work anymore. You know, this is what happens when you let assholes and idiots and dweebs go in and rewrite your canon for you. Then everything is worse. Everything is worse.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Obi-Wan calls him Darth in Star Wars. Okay.
That's true. It's true.
He calls him Darth, which is really not a name, but a title. So that's never been fixed.
Well, that's true. That's true. But it could be almost like you can't win, Darth. Could be like, you can't give me a speeding ticket, officer. Right? I mean, it could be like Darth Vader, Officer Vader is like, you can't pull me over for speeding, Darth. You can't win, Darth. You can't win, Mr. Man. Maybe.
This is the bad thing about headcanon, and that, there's lots of shows. Star Trek certainly was among them. Star Wars. They did not have all the canon written out in advance, and it changed as time went off. The original Star Trek was very guilty of this. So we have to go, okay, they're making some mistakes. But when Obi-Wan calls him Darth, that shouldn't have been. And if Lucas had it worked out, he wouldn't have done that. So
I just
that's one of those.
it.
Say again?
I just explained it though. I mean, it could
You
be that.
explained it with headcanon. You didn't explain it for real, though.
But you don't necessarily say Officer Krupke. You just say, sometimes you say officer, right? He doesn't even honor him by using his actual name, and Vader isn't even his name, right? I mean, he could have been.
Well, he could have called him Anakin.
Yeah, or he could have even called him Annie, which would have been even worse. You can't win, Annie. The sun won't come out tomorrow. You can bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there will be rain.
Sorry, guys. I have to think that like the Luke and Leia kissing is probably a little bit more disturbing.
Yeah, good point.
George had it thought out.
That was sexy time in that. Just
or even more disturbing, Andy, is if it was planned out and that was the plan.
If you watch that scene, I saw that in 70 millimeter, there is the longest spittle that you have ever seen between two people as they pull back.
Wow.
There's this humongous 2.5 foot piece of spittle that goes between them. And it's like, oh my God, it's sexy time between Luke and Leia.
Must have been all that Coke.
That cutscene from Empire. Whoa. Man, that was...
I know, but boy, I tell you, well, you just watch Leia walking down the hall in handcuffs with those stormtroopers just jiggling away with every step like a plate of Jello. Woo! That was good. That was some good stuff. But I digress. Balaz Harmonsky. I hope I said that right. With 1,000 Hungarian, I guess they're francs. Farthings, Hail Balaz, who says they should have just did the Vader comics without modification. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, my God, they have so much material, despite Kathleen Kennedy not knowing that there was all this Star Wars material out there.
Of course, yeah.
The Vader comics I've heard are fantastic, and they may actually be doing that. That's what I heard, is that they're working on a Vader series. And part of it is based loosely on the Dark Horse Vader run. That's what a source told me, that it's in development. So hail Balaz Armorsky, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly, sir. And Fat Steven Seagal with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Fat Steven Seagal, says they write Kenobi like they wrote Rose Tico. Empty. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Kenobi is so badly served in this show. I mean, it truly is painful. It truly is disrespectful. And if you just want 3 hours of Kenobi looking hangdog and running away and being a complete chicken shit, I guess Kenobi's for you. Me, I'm kind of sick of it. Choking on it. It's fact. Agent Pepsi 1 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Agent Pepsi 1. Says Disney Hollywood needs to understand. A strong woman is not one who acts like a man, but one that exudes her femininity. I am a strong woman. I understand that entirely, Agent Pepsi 1. I mean, the best women do not deny their femininity. There is nothing wrong with the feminine. The masculine is not the only virtuous character set. Femininity has its own great strengths, and they are not as flashy maybe as masculine traits, but they are nevertheless essential aspects of humanity that should not be forgotten or neglected. I love women. I've always loved women. I admire women, and not just in life, but in cinema too. I mean, God knows look at Marion Ravenwood in Raiders. She was knockout. She was hilarious. She was cool. She was tough. And she saved Indy's life a couple of times in that movie. So, and did we hate her? Did we hate Leia, like kind of being sassy and giving Han and Luke shit? No. So this whole narrative is just phony, and everybody in this community knows it. They're just liars, and they're covering up their own incompetence, trying hide behind the skirts of woke. And it's not, we see through that shit now. And most of the world is starting to see through it as well. And Alaric Harosen with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Alaric Harosen. Says Obi-Wan would sharpen and enhance his abilities to protect Luke, who is important to the future balance of the Force and very dear to Obi-Wan as the child of Anakin and Padme. This is Disney garbage. It is. Obi-Wan did not become a Jedi Master and a member of the Jedi Council by being a slacker, by being a defeatist. He would be training. He would be vigilant. He would be staying sharp. My idea of having him be so consumed after 10 years with rage over what they did to the Jedi that he's actually kind of slipping a little bit in solitude, in despair, into the dark side of the Force, and actually going out and calming himself by beating the shit out of and killing Imperial assets, Inquisitors just like these, and he's wrestling with, he justifies it as being preemptive because if they get back to Luke, they could hurt Luke, but really, what is started out as a mission of protection is drifting into a mission of revenge. And
I really love that interpretation, Doomcock. I really do.
Thank you. I mean, I think that, God, shit, maybe I'll write it up. Maybe I'll just write it up. Write an alternate version of Kenobi.
Please do.
Hey, Alan Dean Foster wrote a different script and gave it to Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
No, did he?
That book Kenobi was great too. Yeah.
He wrote a treatment script for episode which should have been episode 9, but they didn't accept it.
Yeah. Well, they suck over there. That's their main thing. One Duncan Talks with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, good evening, my liege. Could someone explain to me how stupid Darth Vader is? That some Inquisitor knows about Leia and Luke, and he doesn't. Not only does she know about them, but she knows where they are as well. This shit sucks. One Duncan Talks, man. I can't even dispute you. Now, she doesn't know that Leia is actually, the daughter of Padme. I mean, she knows that, she's Bail Organa's adopted daughter.
Yeah.
And knows that Bail Organa has, used to interact with Obi-Wan. But I mean, I don't know why she thinks that Bail Organa would contact Obi-Wan of all people instead of just hiring a shitload of guards, bounty hunters, and so on to professionally go out there and get her.
Right.
I mean, doesn't make a whole lot
to do a DNA test on Leia and find out who her father is.
Right. And I'll be the one with a $20 super chat and another $20 super chat, two $20 super chats, all of which are written in invisible elvish runes that only are revealed at a certain time of night, like in the Mines of Moria. And I thank you. I'll be the one. I can't read them right now because the moonlight is not right, as the song goes. Moonlight is right. It ain't right now. But as soon as those appear, I will read them. Thank you. I'll be the one. It's very generous of you to support the channel in this way, my friend, and I thank you. And Toddzilla with a $2 super chat. Hail, Toddzilla says Tom Connors Jr. ended up being right. Star Wars is dead. I mean, I can't believe that they are blowing this. And just for the record, Tom Connors Jr. is frequently right. And I would absolutely urge you all to subscribe to Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark and Mead Radio and Mead. What is it? Latino? Is that what it's called? Latin? I forget what the
Midnight's Edge Espanol.
Espanol. Yes. Great channel. Some of the best on YouTube. And hail to Tom, hail to Toddzilla, and RIP Star Wars. Because, I mean, if they can't get this right, then they're never going to get anything right. I mean, seriously. New Guy Drew with a $5 super chat. Hail, New Guy Drew says, question. As I'm not too caught up on all this, when did Vader find out his children lived after Padme died? Was Leia's kidnapping coincidental? Yeah. Well, it should be coincidental. Otherwise, it's complete violation of canon. And bringing Leia into this is just ridiculous. It's more of their agenda and bullshit, the Force is female, intersectional feminism and everything else, because they literally have to say the whole reason for Leia to be there is for them to literally say, Leia's just as important as Luke. That was it. That's the whole reason for all of this shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Fucking ridiculous.
And
When did
she's
Vader-
in every episode.
Yeah.
She's in all 6.
Oh,
It's just sick. But when did Vader find out his children lived after Padme died? Well, he didn't know he had children at all. I mean, we know when he found out about a sister was in Return of the Jedi, sister, you have a twin sister.
Yep.
Now your thoughts betray you. Now Obi-Wan's failure is complete. If you will not be turned, then perhaps she will. That we saw when he found out about that. Before that, he didn't know shit. So
no, he learned about Luke in between Star Wars and Empire.
right. Luke Skywalker. Oops.
I know the feeling. When you get slapped by a paternity suit and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, what did I do? Well, poor Vader.
Yeah.
Vader.
But how could
Vader, you are the
super
father.
sensitive and force sensitive Anakin not realize as he's laying next to Padme that she's having twins? Like, how does he not sense that?
He majored in Jedi and did not minor in gynecology, and he just never thought.
No, but in Jedi, like, he should be able to sense that.
Well, didn't he assume that she was dead?
Oh well, yeah. But I mean,
So then they're all dead.
Flemington means before, like,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in Attack of the Clones, he said, "I can sense everything in that room," which would mean
Right.
like everything inside Padme too. So
he should have known that
Kinda
there
creepy.
were 2 babies in her. Yeah.
Yes.
probably
Just by her size, he should have known.
Well, he should have just known anyway.
Yep. I agree.
True.
But he didn't. So I guess he was more important. He was worried about her dying, and he didn't really give a shit about the kids. You know how it is. He just didn't think about it.
And Palpatine told him that he had killed her, and so his assumption was that he killed the kids too, I guess.
But I don't think he knew about kids per se. I mean, I think he only assumed that there was one, because like when he was
kid, though.
sister, it's like, so your twin turned out to be a sister, eh? Yeah, but he doesn't say that. He just seems completely like,
right. So kid, I mean, well, he just thought the kid was dead.
yeah, but I don't think he knew. For whatever reason, he didn't know.
No,
He couldn't have.
And he didn't even suspect when he felt the Force with Luke in the Death Star battle either. He just felt someone strong in the Force.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a Sith, not a doctor. That's basically it. I'll be the one with a $10 super sticker as well of the Invisible Man. You've been very generous tonight. I'll be the one, and I thank you very much for all of that support, brother. I hope you're enjoying the show, and thank you. I'll be the one. Deeply appreciate your support. The Ginger Menace with a $2 super sticker from Mary Ashmead, the Queen of the Wrenches. Hail to you, Ginger Menace. And she sends a farty hearty super sticker of Bushiba blowing hearts out the backside. And let's not blow any more hearts out the backside. Let's go ahead and delve into something that makes me just as mad as Kenobi. Fucking hell. Strange New Worlds episode fucking 5. Oh my God, I hate this shit, and I am especially angry because there are some poor deluded souls out there who actually think that this episode wasn't bad, and I am here to go ahead and provide a correction for those sad souls who have been so deceived
That would be
or dropped
me.
on their heads at birth. Oh, you? Well, I guess at some point we're just going to have to.
This is going to be good.
We're going to have to go ahead and do an intervention on you. We intervene on the ones we love when they go so tragically wrong. So that's what I'm going to do. Not unlike the Orville this week, Strange New Woke starts out with a nightmare sequence as well, showing Spock battling his human self in the arena on Vulcan. with Lurpas and losing. The majority of this episode is spent dealing with Spock and T'Pring, dealing with their relationship, and everything is wrong about that sentence.
Yes.
I'll repeat it again. The majority of the episode is spent dealing with Spock and T'Pring, dealing with their relationship, of which they had none, of which they never had a fucking relationship. They were mind melded at the age of 6 or something like that.
7, yeah.
Promised each other. It was an arranged marriage. There is no fucking relationship. They never hung out. They don't kiss. Vulcans don't really kiss. They do weird finger sex. It's a strange thing. But they're too reserved to go ahead and lock lips like these people are doing, even in public in a cafe on fucking Vulcan. This is a lie. This is absolute canon violation out the ass. But it even gets worse, folks. It even gets worse. This episode itself is mostly a farce. It's billed in the description as a comedy of manners. The problem with that is they forgot the fucking comedy. And they've got Spock and T'Pring doing that what is that movie where they Freaky Friday? Yeah, where Spock and T'Pring, I'm not kidding you, they do a mind meld so that he can get into her body and she can get into his. So in this episode, Spock officially comes out as trans, ladies and gentlemen. This is officially trans.
So Contras are that easily switched between Vulcans doing mind melds?
Yes, and they tell Pike about it. They tell Pike about it. How private was Spock in the original series about Vulcan mating rituals, about the mind meld, about Vulcan lore? I mean, Jesus God, it is not for off-worlders. He says this over and over again. And he only confides in Kirk because they are so fucking close. He is the closest thing in the entire universe that Spock has to a true friend.
Right.
And even then he hesitates. But nah, it's like, we're in a body swap, a la Freaky Friday and Farscape. And hijinks ensue, where Spock in T'Pring's body has to go and deal with an illogical Vulcan to try and talk him back into being logical. It's fucking stupid. And T'Pring in Spock's body has to go and deal with a touchy diplomatic situation with some aliens. And then hijinks ensue. And then number one and Lan, Connie Noonien Singh, as I call her, they spend a good deal of time playing Enterprise Bingo. And hijinks.
Excuse me for 1 second, Doomcock. Can you turn off the super chats, please?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I appreciate that. Got
No
too many
worries.
things here. I'm already too fucking... All right. Anyway.
Please continue.
All right. God damn it. It's number one and Connie Noonien Singh spend a good deal of time playing Enterprise Bingo. What is Enterprise Bingo? It's a juvenile list of bucket things that cadets do on the Enterprise, or what passes as the Enterprise on this sorry ass excuse of a show. Like, I don't know, like farting in an airlock, or shooting each other with phasers at the lowest level, or running around, with gay pride flags, or I don't know what the fuck. It's just a list of a bunch of fucking shit that never happened on Star Trek. It's just ridiculous. This crew has nothing but time on their hands to do this juvenile fucking shit in corridors that you could like drive a goddamn SUV through. I mean, every room on this goddamn ship is vast.
It's so
vast. You could fucking have cattle. You could raise cattle on the Enterprise and still have plenty of room.
It's bigger on the inside.
It's bigger on the inside.
Each room has a pool, probably. It's like a swimming pool and stuff.
Yes. So Captain Pike, or as I, if you're wondering who Captain Pike is, if you look around the crew and you see the one with the hair, yeah, he's the one with the pompous door. That's who Captain Pike is. This sanctimonious, smug little fucking Yule Gibbons, Walter Brimley. It's the right thing to do. It's like he's selling fucking grape nuts or some shit in the church on fucking Sunday. This goddamn little fucking 20 5th century televangelist piece of shit. I mean, honestly, this guy is just so smug and smarmy. I can't fucking stand him anymore. Anyway, Captain Pike
Killing me.
is mostly reduced to a walk-on role, like I said. He's barely used as part of a negotiation for a possible new member of the Federation, but it gets worse. It is interesting to see Spock in T'Pring's body trying to capture a Vulcan who's in need of rehabilitation, and the solution to capture him is he punches him. Just punches him. He just, like, the guy thinks he's talking to T'Pring, like this defective, illogical Vulcan who needs to be brought back to the fold. And so, and he's smack talking to T'Pring. He thinks he's talking to T'Pring, but it's actually Spock inside of T'Pring's body. And he's saying, and you're going to marry a half human, because God knows Vulcans are racist as fuck. They always have been, right, wrong. But that's how the Kurtzman Trek is. The Vulcans are racist. They're racist scum. And so he's bad-mouthing Spock to T'Pring's face, but Spock is inside T'Pring. And what does Spock do? He hits him. He punches him. He just punches him and knocks him out into T'Pring's body.
Yeah.
Trans Spock. Forget about Trans Am. He is Trans Am not interested in this fucking show. And watching Ethan Peck play T'Pring is
Wow.
weird. He has a subtle lisp, which no one has been screaming about for some reason. I don't know. The Enterprise bingo is, for some, mildly entertaining. For me, I just was rolling my eyes so hard that I actually looked down my own throat and saw what I ate for lunch. But this script is certainly culled from several ideas that the writer's room thought would be cool, but couldn't find a way to shoehorn them into an episode. So they just took all those ideas and chewed them up and shit them in a blender and blended them and, smeared it on top of an episode. So that basically is A Strange New Worlds. And some think that this is the best episode of Strange New Worlds they have made. But that's like saying it's the tastiest turd in the punch bowl.
It was probably the worst.
Yeah, they dumped some sugar on top of a turd, huh?
I fucking hated it so much. I can't even tell you. But let's go ahead and let our friend Kelvington, who is the object of our intervention today, go ahead and speak. And Kelvington, will you please offer this precious gift that is being offered to you today? Come back to us. We've got to help you. We love you, but your addiction has negatively impacted me in the following way. Fuck, Kelvington.
Yes, sir. Well, okay. So here's the thing, and this is very true of this show in general. If we all agreed on everything, it would be boring as fuck. And there's usually at least one person per, thing that has a subtle disagreement. In this regard, I thought this was the best episode they have done. Now, we have to forget about canon, because canon is not a real thing that we can hang a hat on, because Star Trek itself doesn't hang its hat on canons. How many times did Kirk call it Space Fleet Command or Space Command and not Starfleet? There were times in the original series, because the canon hadn't been created yet, that they make mistakes, a lot of them. So let's just forget the canonical aspects of the episode. Having a fucking Freaky Friday episode, which, it was one of Farscape's best episodes, is when they flipped consciousness around. Now, they did it on a much better route than they did it here. But when they flipped their consciousness around, I was like, holy shit, are they actually going to do this? And then when they kind of got to the space bingo part, the Enterprise's bingo, I was like, well, this could be kind of cute. And they actually bring up a list that you can freeze frame and actually read of all the things that they wanted to do with their space bingo.
Is this your top 10 for today?
No. My top 10 this is not my top. It could have been. I wish I would have fucking thought of that. But this idea that you could reflavor gum with a transporter, I'm sure somewhere a writer in their writer's room went, hey, here's an idea. And they went, well, that's funny or clever, but we have no use for it. Or what is it like to get shot in the lowest possible phaser setting? And they're like, yeah, okay, that's cute, but we could never use it. So what they did was they took these 10 concepts and turned them into an episode, including writing your name on a piece of the Enterprise, the exterior hull of the Enterprise. It was fun. And seeing Ethan Peck try to be a woman, although the only thing that bothered me about it was he does a lisp. And that bugs me a lot. She doesn't grab her crotch and straighten her balls or anything during the episode when she's playing him. But I just generally thought it was fun. And the way they kind of put him back, like using crystals and woo-woo crap that he says, well, that's going to be standard operating procedure in the future. And you get to see them both, scream out in agony or whatever as they jump back into their own souls. I did not hate this episode. Like most of the time, I fucking hate Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But this time, I was like, okay, I'm going to turn my brain off and watch it and not care. And that's exactly what I did, including the time when you see what is obviously 3 TV screens plugged together that are representing a screen. Even that, I like, okay, I'm not going to let that bother me. I didn't hate the episode. It was the best one they've done because it was lighthearted.
Yeah, well, I guess anally violating Spock and completely destroying his character is cute and fun, but not for me. For some, I guess, but not so much for me. It's not a little thing like calling it Earth Command or Space Command or any little inconsistency like that. It's a fundamental violation of Vulcan culture, everything we know about Spock. I mean, it's a goddamn grievous insult to all of us that love Star Trek. So I reject that premise. I mean, certain aspects of canon can be small. Some things can be overlooked if they're done right. Not absolutely, completely violating Spock has laughed in this series. Spock has reacted in anger and punched someone. You got Vulcans making out in public. You have got racist Vulcans. All of this is absolutely just destroying everything about Spock that matters. And so, no, I do not like it at all. I do not think it's fucking cute. I do not think it's funny. I didn't have one goddamn laugh in this fucking thing. I'm insulted. I'm furious. And I'm sick of these assholes that don't know anything about Star Trek, don't give a fuck about Star Trek, shitting all over everything that I've loved my whole fucking life. So no, I disagree.
Absolutely.
I disagree. But let's just go around the table. Andy, what'd you think?
I didn't watch this. So I was getting ready for my race, but I haven't. I watched the last couple of episodes of this, and I guess it's okay for if you're thinking like alternate universe and alternate timeline and stuff, but I don't know. It's just it doesn't have. It's kind of like chewing up with the bubblegum analogy. You get the bubblegum that's been stuck on your bedpost, and it's got a little bit of that flavor left to it, and hey, it might be better than nothing. I don't know. It's just to me, Spock was like the cool, that logic thing. And maybe just because I was the nerdy kid and kind of thought with the logic and stuff and kind of identify with Spock. But what they've done to him but I think it shows you that they have no definition of logic because they can't understand Vulcans. So
I fucking hate this shit. PJ, I mean, talk me down here. I mean, I mean, this is beyond cute or funny, and I will not forget about canon when it's so fundamental to the character that Leonard Nimoy created in 1966. I mean, this is obscene.
You know what I think is unique about this episode? Because I ran into a lot of people who felt like Kelvington did this week, and I was a little surprised, but at the same time, I took a better look at the story, and I think it comes down to this. I think that the story itself is an okay story if you take it and put it into another series, sci-fi series, into another franchise. But of course, if you put it into Star Trek, and for us who are, even moderately concerned about canon, there's a lot of stuff wrong. Like for example, all right, let's say we buy into the whole Katra switching stuff. The fact that Mbenga is going to resolve it and not a Vulcan high priest, I mean, that's like,
oh God,
that's a red alarm. That's a red flag right there. But I'm happy for Kelvington. I do think, and listen, I'm happy for everybody who enjoyed it too. But at the same time, I was starting to feel like the way Nick was talking before. Like, what is like? Are we getting to the point where are we so desensitized to all the stuff we've gotten that we get a decent story, even though it's not a Trek story, and so like either we accept this or we have to say Trek is dead. I mean.
Yeah, I can't. It's to me, it's obscene. I mean, look at Spock making out with T'Pring, being very public about it, admitting it to Captain Pike, almost obsessively. And why the fuck? How the fuck? Nobody knew about the Katra before.
No.
I mean, Kirk didn't know anything about it. I've never understood Vulcan mysticism, says his commander in Star Trek 3, right? Well, honestly, I've just never understood Vulcan mysticism. Yep. This is not stuff that's known, and it's obscene. Clobbering times. What do you think?
Well, everything you said, I'm right there with you. This is not funny to me. Well, maybe in the sense that I laughed. I do. The times I laugh at this trash is when I'm going, wow, they really actually, somebody filmed this? Some moron actually approved this to get made? This is garbage. This is the canon violations, of course, are horrible. It's not, minor little retcons here and there over the years happen as far as mistakes that they come back and just kind of just sweep under the rug later. This is not that. This is shitting all over a mock time.
Yeah.
This in 5 episodes, they dumped over Arena, a mock time, and about 4 or 5 other ones. They should call this one Turnabout Includer, I guess. They this is an unbelievably moronic idea. Everything about it, first of all, because again, from get-go, him with T'Pring, her being on the show at all. There's a reason in Amok Time when he's looking at a picture of a little girl, because that's the last time he saw her. Okay. And if you care about Amok Time at all, if you care about anything, I mean, again, I guess if you don't care about canon, that's one thing. But if you do, I don't know how anybody who calls himself a Star Trek fan could do anything other than projectile vomit all over the wall when they're watching this crap. It's horrible. It's disgusting. And everything they do to Star Trek is an abomination. And worse, and also it's not funny, and it's not well written. This show is written. I mean, if you, after watching the Orville, and you go back and watch this stuff, it's like it's written by and for toddlers, middle midgets who don't understand Star Trek. It's written by idiots. This is just absolutely the lowest common denominator crap. And is it how people who acknowledge the horribleness of STD and PR are liking this show. Again, I may still love you as an individual if you like this thing. I don't understand it. I'm not capable of understanding, comprehending that if you love Star Trek, that you'll put up with this, that you'll accept this. I don't get it. I just, and it is depressing. It's depressing that we've come far enough to at least where we had established that the Kurtzman, George Abrams trash is crap, is not Star Trek. And now this comes along jangling keys and throwing some shiny stuff at people that they think is better, and they're starting to accept it. Some people I dearly love are liking this thing, and it just makes me crazy. I don't know.
It does to me too, and I'm just hoping that we can save some of those wayward souls, starting with our friend Kelvington. But
Yes,
we'll see. Gary Ambrosia, I know that you couldn't even watch the whole episode, but what you fucking saw and what you've heard, what do you think about this disgusting shit?
I have notes.
I love when he has notes.
First note. What is happening? I'll leave it there. Second note. Dude asks Chapel, what about me? Am I hot? Women fighting for men. What anybody on the panel ever said that ever asked that of a woman?
Who's writing this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You guys keep talking about story. My next note, first story point, 18 minutes and 24 seconds. That's the first like major plot point in the series or in the show.
Wasn't it like 15 minutes before the opening credits?
Yeah, but there's 18 minutes, 3 minutes after that. That's when the first story point comes in. That's when they bust the two idiots in the fucking in the lift and oh my god. What is the point of showing us what happened before mock time regarding Spock and T'Pring? You know, if anybody knows about an arranged marriage and if anybody knows of what they actually base that on, these people don't meet. These people are not involved. That's what makes it such an awkward situation. That's kind of what it was based on. That's how I see it. I don't know if you guys. I was like, really? Why are they hanging out? Why are they banging? That's a normal relationship to me. You know what I mean? It wasn't a normal relationship. It was arranged. It was a weird thing. It was supposed to be strange. It was supposed to be something that we don't really understand. And now they're giving us an explanation as to why we can understand it. No, that's not the point. We're not supposed to understand it. It's supposed to be alien to us. Let's see. Apparently Spock and T'Pring switch bodies. Why do we only hear about this through exposition and not through creative storytelling? They literally had to tell us that happened because I had paused it and I asked my wife, what happened? And she said, I think they swapped bodies. I'm like, okay, hit play. And then they talk about it. I'm like, okay, well then that must have happened because they're telling us that. I had no fucking idea because when one plays the other, how the fuck do we know? Like you guys said, I guess one of them had a lisp or something like that. I didn't fucking see that. I mean, really, all you have to do to play Spock is this. Really,
exactly.
We'll get it, you know, but she didn't even do that. Again, shit acting. Let's see, what else? Oh, Pike comes in and they're having a discussion and then they reveal that they swapped characters and he says, yeah, totally. California bimbo slang in space.
Yeah.
Love that. You know, love the interrogation between the first officer, Cadet Noonien Singh, and then the two cadets that were, you know, causing trouble. Love the interrogation. When they announce their punishment, it feels like we're watching middle school children being punished.
Exactly.
Oh, but he's so mean. Are you fucking kidding me?
To their moms, yeah.
Wow. Okay, next note. This you guys already covered it. Enterprise bingo. Wow. How fucking low do you have to go? That seemed like bloopers that they actually put in to provide a story. You know what I mean? Like they made shit up on the side. It's like, well, you know what? This is to be a really interesting story point. No one ever addressed this. And then they put the bloopers. It's like they made the shit up on the set, like they were joking around and they put it in as canon.
Did you leave before you heard that when number one and what's her name, Connie Noonien Singh, like did the Enterprise bingo and they checked off a thing? It made a little da 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 da. Like
I didn't catch
it. Like it was like a Mario Brothers game that did the Star Trek theme.
I didn't.
How stupid is that?
I didn't catch that, but yay.
No, I'm telling you, dude. What do you think of that?
I think it's fucking awesome. Yay! Way to go!
Fuck you!
Yay!
Stupid.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. I'm almost done. Hold on.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. I forgive you. Let's see. Oh, what's this note? Love the parachute pants, bro. Oh, Will Wheaton, the shaved head, the pilot, Will Wheaton. Right. Love the parachute pants, bro. Let's see. Is there anything going on in this episode? No. And my last note, 2/3 of the way in, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it anymore, man. Even my wife was like, what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is going on? I mean, you guys are talking about you thought it was a good story. What fucking story?
Yeah.
I didn't see any story. I'm sorry, guys. I was looking for it.
No, there was no story.
Like 18 minutes and 24 seconds in. That's when the first plot point came in. And then it kind of went, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Drink.
Just one thing I'll point out, which is when I was in the military, every ship I was on had a version of bingo for their particular ship. So that's a real thing. Every time I had stepped on board any kind of ship for any reason, people were playing bingo to find this, to do that, to do these other things. So that's a real thing that happens in the military because people are bored for long periods of time.
I understand that being a real thing because I know
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are in the military and they sit around a lot and they do a lot of things like that. But does that really belong in a show? Maybe to
Star
bring it
Trek.
up, to reference it for maybe a second or something as a joke, sure. But should it be a major plot point? Fuck no.
In a better show, it could work, but the show's so bad they can't even do anything right.
You could
so.
put that in somewhere. There is
Yeah.
a way to make that work. I mean, really, to play the devil's advocate, there is a way to make that work because,
Right.
like Kelvington said, it's got a reference in reality. But to make it a major plot point of this show, there's so much more that can be done. There's so much more.
Yeah, but
That's
no.
a good point, Kelvin. Oh, sorry, go
Go ahead, PJ. Go ahead.
No, that's actually a very good point, Kelvington. I wanted to bring that up because it is a real thing. And a lot of times in the military, people will try to push the limits with unauthorized activities. And it happens. But I don't know. I just I felt kind of like Gary, I don't think it was well handled. I also think that a lot of times when people take risks, they put their own life at risk or their own person at risk, but not others in the military when they do that. I do think that the first officer and the head of security firing weapons at each other is, I don't know. I had a problem with that myself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was bad. The whole thing is disgusting, and I despise it. I think that Kurtzman's track record is still perfect. 0 for 100, 0. He scores 0. But I guess I'm cynical. Jesus, Kelvington, please save yourself and give us an eye on Hollywood.
Understood. Give me 60 seconds on the clock. Here is your eye on Hollywood. Top Gun Maverick has made more money than the studio expected, which is great news for fans of the film. Expect to see the next Top Gun sequel in 2058. CNN's new boss, Chris Licht, plans to reduce the use of the breaking news chyron, which should pretty much turn CNN into this. Tamura Morrison admits that he would make changes to his performance in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, I don't know, keeping your fucking helmet on? Or perhaps spending more time acting and less time bathing. And finally, we learned 2 things from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. First, Amber appears to have gone to the Sims School of Acting. And 2, she looks just like Elon Musk in drag. And that has been your eye on Hollywood.
Well done,
done.
Kelvington.
Well done.
Well done.
And you know, we talked about the new characters and stuff that they're going to be putting into Batuu. It turns out it's a lot worse than we actually thought. And I happen to have a list of all the other characters they're going to be adding to Batuu, if you'd like to see it.
I would
Oh, boy.
love to see it, Kelvington.
We have to.
May the force be with us again. Here are the top 10 other characters that will be added to Batuu. Number 10, unlike Princess Leia, Princess Minnie will wear underwear the entire time. Number 9, Broom Boy will still be sweeping up trash in Batuu. Number 8, Yaddle will be selling Fiddle Faddle for obvious reasons. Number 7, Baby Bat is still not old enough to order an alcoholic beverage. Number 6, Admiral Piet will appear in a number of videos explaining how to give the Heimlich maneuver. Number 5, Figrin D'Anne will be available to play the flute in the gentleman's vac tube area, if you know what I mean. Number 4, a 30-foot tall statue of Paige Tico will be erected. and it will have more lines than Kelly Marie Tran did. Number 3, Biggs Darklighter will appear daily, but will constantly be confused with Cassian Andor. Number 2, Kit Fisto will make appearances, but for legal reasons, his name will become Consent Fisto. And the number 1 other character added to Batuu, unlike Donald Effin Duck, Darth Goofy must wear pants.
Excellent.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Very good, Kelby.
Excellent.
That is great. That is great. All right. Now I've got a smile on my face again after Strange New Woke. Jesus God. Thank you, Kelvington. An excellent job, my friend. An excellent job. You can even forget about the intervention. You can go ahead and like it if you want. It's fine.
Just this once.
Just this once. All right, let's go ahead and get to some of these super chats here you guys have been so patient for. Nicholas Horton with a 2-pound super sticker, a Bushiba giving a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Nicholas Horton. And Drist Du Erden. Hail Drizzt Du Erden, who with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, do you think that Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, could play her mom's character in a reboot? I'm going to say no, because a reboot would be absolutely an abomination that would send me into paroxysms of fury. However, I do believe that that she could probably pull it off, but it's a terrible idea. And if they do it, may they perish in flames. I mean, fuck you. You know, you're going to go ahead and screw with perfection. You're going to go ahead and attack George Lucas's universe again, this time by digging up the corpse and mangling it and having a sick, perverted version of it, like rebooted. No, not for me. Drizzt Du Erden, but I do think that indeed that she could probably play Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia pretty well. Fandom Boomer with a $4 super sticker of the pair giving a toast. Hail to you, Fandom Boomer. I'll drink to that. Of course, then I will drink to anything. Thank you, Fandom Boomer. And I'll be the one with another $10 super sticker of the Cheshire Cat that is disappeared, smiled and disappeared. I'll be the one. I can't see if you're writing anything, I can't see it, but I do very much appreciate the support, my friend. And I hope very sincerely that this means that you're enjoying Pop Culture Breakdown this evening as much as we are. I hope. Thank you. I'll be the one. And Emperor Creating with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Emperor. Says, personally, I think I'll reserve complete judgment until Kenobi is over, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Yes, I mean, I'm going to keep watching, and I feel the same way, Emperor. I mean, if it pulls off a miracle and suddenly turns around, then I will admit it. I will say it. I will proclaim it. I will celebrate it, and I will congratulate them. But my God, they have really hurt the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He continues. I don't think we'll see great things from old IPs until we have a new generation of writers. I think you're entirely correct, Emperor Creatine. We need some genuine writers, some real writers that have a little bit of life experience, a little bit of humility, and a lot of discipline and talent. And unfortunately, all these things are lacking in the current crop of writers these days. Thank you, my Emperor. And Ledgerine, who's been a channel member for 14 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, Ledgerine. Says, hooray, 13 months here. Still angry, but love you all. Love you too, Ledgerine. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Thank you for being here with us on Sunday and Friday Night Frolics. And just thank you, brother. You don't go changing. You hear me? And Digi Akuma with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Digi Akuma. Says Lucasfilm said, we resist. Thus, we reject. That's right. Lucasfilm was bravely and stunningly saying, well, if you're going to make Moses Ingram not feel welcome, then we resist. It's like, dude, what you should have resisted is the urge to cast someone who can't really act all that well, at least not in that part. I mean, honestly, come on. Her depiction of Reva is fucking ridiculous, over the top. nonsensical. It's just grating. It's horrible. Hail Digi Akuma.
We should say, though, we should also say that, of course, nobody should be bothering this actress online.
Nobody is, dude. I don't think anybody is. This is like Kelly Marie Tran. They say, PJ, that she was chased off of social media. There is no evidence.
There's always a couple of There's always a couple.
Well, of course.
They're bots. Elon Musk already proved that. Fake.
All I can say is that Kelly Marie Tran had the perfect opportunity to speak out against toxic fans if she was bullied off of Twitter or Instagram. And instead of that, in the New York Times op-ed that they gave her, she didn't call out the fans. She called out Hollywood for making her feel not good enough, if you recall, PJ. She talked about the systematic sexism and racism in Hollywood and didn't say anything about the fans, nothing. So that's a complete lie. That is a fabrication, a myth, and I will never stop calling it out. And Big Dave K, who's been a channel member for 5 months at the Dominion level, thank you, Big Dave K, says Doomcock needs to sing, "We're not going to take it." Well, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. Hail Big Dave K, and thank you, my friend, for being here tonight. Peppermint Oil Capsule with a 2-pound super chat. Thank you, Peppermint Oil Capsule, says Amber's got a bright future in Scheisse Porn films. Scheisse Porn, yes, the Germans call it quality. Thank you, Peppermint Oil Capsule. It's true. It's true, I'm telling you. The poop will be with you always, mein Freund. It's just a thing they like. I don't know why they like it, because they're clean and orderly. So of course it violates their sense of cleanness and orderliness, I think. Hail Peppermint Oil Capsule. I've never understood that myself. I think it's disgusting. Emperor Cree18 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Emperor. Says this is how bad Kenobi is already. Imagine just how awful the original script was. Well, now that's entirely possible, Emperor. Or it's possible that it was actually very good and that Kathleen Kennedy got wind of it, and that's why she shut down the production when it was only about a week away from starting and ordered all the scripts completely rewritten top to bottom. I think it was because it wasn't woke, because it was actually doing good service to Kenobi, and she couldn't have that. She couldn't live with it. That's what I think, Emperor. But you're right. Between this Kenobi and the other Kenobi, I'm sure that there could be an incredible world of difference. Darth Tony, 1976, who's been a channel member for 14 months at the Archvillain level. Thank you, Darth Tony. So the only way to save Obi-Wan is at the end of the last episode. He wakes up, and it's the day after dropping off Luke, and any of it happened. That's right. And he says, I must have gotten a hold of some bad crate dragon. He lets out a big, big fart and then moves about his business. That would be good. Darth Tony, 1976. Why don't you get a job over there and show him how it's done? Hail Darth Tony. And Radio Man 1017 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Radio Man. Says Reva will fight and best Vader. Obi-Wan stops her from killing Vader, who then kills her. Both Obi-Wan and Vader are emasculated. She's the bestest ever. What a twisted bit of plotting, Radio Man. And you're saying no, Cummington? No.
That's not what happens. No.
Fair enough. Woo! Thank God. Hail Radio Man 1017. And Mario Pilot with a $10 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Mario. Says, I believe people who love Obi-Wan are so weak they can't bear to see an inspiring character on screen. I think seeing a loser comforts them in their mediocrity. I've long said this about woke people is the reason that they hate heroes and they hate achievement, they hate merit, is because they have none of those things. They don't like it. And so if they can attack the very idea of individuality, of achievement, of masculinity, of these things being virtues, and instead turn them around into negatives, then they don't have to feel so bad about possessing none of those attributes. I think that that's what it is. I think that that's why they don't have individuality, they don't have character, and so they opt for the hive mind approach to things because there's safety in numbers, and they don't really like sticking their necks out for anything that isn't supported by a group of like-minded snowflake turds. Tony Stark with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tony. Says the Orville is absolute, as is the boys and Maverick. A reminder to all Xanadoom, hold on to these slivers of good media and shows. Fight the woke. Amen, Tony. Amen. Well said, sir. Hail to the Orville. Long may it fly. Long may it run. And Lance has sent 3 $10 super chats in a row. Thank you very much, Lance, for all of these super chats. And I'm just going to read them all together because they're a 3-part message. And Lance says, I will finish that write-up I mentioned. I will play the Edge of the Empire RPG and have my fun Star Wars adventures there. I refuse to support companies that actively hate good and honest people and respond to genuine fans offering helpful, constructive criticism with disgusting, terrible accusations and lies. Scream at the tide all you want. It will still come in. The vast majority of fans are good, decent people. You can't see the true value of respecting the characters, history, and multiple generations who found common ground here. That is why you fail. Well said, Lance. Well said, sir. Yeah, I just knew KK was up to her old tricks. Once they were dusting off the old, if you don't like terrible acting Reva, then you're just a ist and a phobe, and etc. Yawn. Kevin S., who's been a channel member for 26 months at the Dumentide level. Thank you, Kevin S., says the Orville took a big risk. And I'm not sure I liked how it hit, but I'll keep watching. It's sincere and character driven. Well said, Kevin. Well said. Thank you for that super chat, my friend. Thank you. Vendor02 sent a super sticker of the Invisible Man, 10 Mexican pesos, Mexican Dolores, I'm not sure. Thank you, Vendor02, and Vendor02 with a 50 Mexican peso super chat. Thank you, Vendor. Says it wasn't the Orville where the orange guy wanted to make a gender change. Wasn't it the Orville where the orange guy wanted to make a gender change to his daughter? Yes. Because they don't like women on that planet. And all of them are male. And if, every once in a while a female Moclan is produced, then they go ahead and change her into a him. Is that right, PJ?
Yeah, for the time being. And I mean, when they found out that there's a whole sanctuary planet of escaped female Moclans, but
right.
We will see what happens.
Right. It was a fascinating episode, though, and one of the greatest traditions of science fiction, of taking a modern issue and standing it entirely on its head and making us look at it in a fresh light. I mean, that is the most pure and noble application of the science fiction conceit, to really put things on their heads and make a relevant commentary on today's society. Don't you think?
Indeed.
Absolutely. Yeah. They Seth does it very well. And of course it's Seth. I mean, Seth is principally writing it, but he's also getting help from Brandon Braga and David Goodman, maybe somebody else. They present what happens when they make social commentary on the Orville is that they present all sides to the argument.
Right.
And instead of, like, for example, like Star Trek, they just shove like one side of the argument down the fans, so.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. A few more of these, and then we're going to go ahead and get to our retro movie of the week discussion, which is a movie that all of you guys love, at least I assume. I hope. Douglas Nelson with a $5 super chat to our fallen comrade, Douglas Nelson, who is at home sick right now. Hail to you, Douglas, and thank you for this super chat. He says, hail, everybody. I'm sore, but doing fine. Sorry I missed the show. Happy birthday, Andy, and long live the Orville. Happy birthday, Andy. Douglas sends his regards.
Thank you, Douglas. Miss you, bud.
Hang in there, Doug.
We
hope you feel better, pal.
Feel better, Doug.
And
God bless
Mexican
you,
Iron Man, too, got stuck in plane change, so he couldn't make it tonight.
Oh,
Absolutely. And we miss you as well, Mexican Iron Man. We love you, buddy. Sorry you couldn't make
Yeah.
it. Hopefully next week. And CC Karaoke with a $2 super chat. A very succinct super chat, but I think a perfect one. He says, Kenobi made me feel nothing. Orville made me feel. And that is indeed what I was getting at earlier. That 100%. 100% CC Karaoke. Well said, sir, and thank you. Jeff C. with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Jeff says, I would love to see Doomcock and Company play Artemis Starship Simulation in a stream. It would be more Star Trek than Kurtzman Trek. Yeah, we've never done any kind of gaming on Pop Culture Breakdown, but Artemis Starship Simulator, is that pretty good? Has anybody played that? Have we got any gamers here? No, I guess not. Jeff C, thank you. I will take a look into Artemis Starship Simulator. Is it cool? Pretty good? Like original Trek stuff? Thank you, Jeff C. And Crazy Cat Guy, who has been a channel member for 27 months at the Dumentite level. Thank you, Crazy Cat Guy, says there were female stormtroopers in the EU. Just one example of the top of my head can be found in the Dark Horse comics. There may be others. But were they recent? I mean, after these comic book companies went woke, I mean, is that when they came, or was it in the actual like 90s or early 2000s when Star Wars was still Star Wars? Just wondering. Mercenary X21 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, I still have one last hope, but only after Disney collapses and is sold into pieces. Ahsoka and the Veil. She has to fix all of this and the villain who is messing with it. Yeah. Well, we know, at least the original concept was when they released the title and everything, and they showed the world between worlds, the Veil of the Force, in the title itself, that is kind of the idea. That is where it's going to sink or swim as far as saving Star Wars canon. But the thing is, I mean, if they can't even make this work, then what the hell is the point of saving anything? Honestly, I mean, even if they eliminate the Disney sequel trilogy, well, that's a good start, but you've also got to do good shows in the meantime. And this ain't it. Romulo Garcia, who's been a channel member for 14 months at the Dominion level. Thank you, Romulo, says Obi-Wan and Ms. Marvel suck. Hail Doomcock. Hail chat. Hail Romulo Garcia. I haven't seen Ms. Marvel because I'm not a teenage girl or a school-age girl, or I'm just not a girl, but I don't know. Any of you guys, have you watched Ms. Marvel at all?
I was able to get it in advance, a few episodes. It doesn't suck. It's, it's not, I think it's suffering from poor editing, if anything, but it wasn't the worst thing I'd seen. It's not overly woke. And it's nice to see a representation in this regard. And we have to say goodnight to PJ. He's got to go.
PJ. Well, listen, man, thank you for stopping in tonight. And please go ahead and plug your channel and say anything you would like to say to the folks listening out there. Really appreciate you coming on, man.
Well, thank you so much. Just remember that we're doing Sunday Night Latchcom right before Doomcock every Sunday. And on Thursdays, we are reviewing the new, every Thursday, we're going to be reviewing the new episode of the Orville, more discussing it than reviewing it. And the new episode for this week is Shadow Realms. It's going to be, I think it's going to be kind of more of a thriller type episode. So thank you so much for the invite.
You're very welcome, PJ. And what times do you do these reviews, discussions?
Usually 5:30 Eastern, something like that.
On Thursdays.
On Thursday. Yeah.
Sounds good. I should probably come on at some point just to participate.
You're absolutely welcome to. I've been trying to get you on for 3 years.
Well, let's make it happen then. Let's make it happen.
Whenever you want. You're always welcome.
Thank you, PJ. Love you, brother.
Bye,
and
PJ.
Subscribe to Orville Nation, folks.
Bye, guys.
This
Good
guy
to
is
you.
a great
See you,
guy.
PJ.
Love you,
Be in
PJ.
touch.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Later, PJ.
Damn, he has to go before we do the Blues Brothers. That's sad. Well, Kelvington, I think it's about time. We're close to caught up on the super chats, and I will get to all the super chats. I promise you that. But let's go ahead and let's get on to the retro film we're going to talk about this week.
Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and we are gathered here today to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, The Blues Brothers. This is a perfect movie. This is absolutely on my list of the funniest movies ever made, up there with The In-Laws, with Airplane, with Monty Python and the Holy Grail, with Animal House, Caddyshack. Blues Brothers is legendary. John Landis is one of the greatest comedic directors of live action in film history. I wish that his career had not been cut short by the tragedy that occurred on the set of Twilight Zone, the movie. If it had not, then God only knows how many wonderful movies like this we would have gotten. But I tell you, it really took just a paper-thin premise of, the Blues Brothers, Jake and Elwood. They just used to do this shtick on Saturday Night Live. In fact, the whole thing was really Paul Schaefer's idea. Paul Schaefer approached them at a party, and they were listening to blues, and says, "Well, why don't you guys, get together and be like these brothers that sing this kind of stuff, and they're ex-cons." I mean, he laid out the whole thing, and even wrote their shtick for them on Saturday Night Live for a while. But then Landis took it to a whole other level. It gave us an all-star cast, huge production values, and probably the greatest car chase and car crash sequences in all of history. I mean, to just talk about this movie and just to go through the scenes, favorite moments, you can spend hours just laughing over the great scenes that are in this incredibly funny movie. My God. And as we talk about this, I want to open the floor to everybody to talk about their favorite moments in the Blues Brothers. Or if you disagreed, you didn't like it, that's fine too. But I've never met personally anybody that didn't like the Blues Brothers. I think it is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of the funniest damn things ever put on film. Kelvington, what are your feelings about the Blues Brothers?
This was one of my, I would say, top 5 films. Like, I have 30 top 5 films, but this was really great. And I rewatched it today, and I just sat there in my couch without moving because it's so good. It just drags you in right from the very first moment. And even seeing, Frank Oz and stuff in it at the open, and seeing how they introduced Jake and Elwood, it just, everything about it was perfect. And you have to remember that this film came out on the exact same day The Empire Strikes Back came out. So you could either go see Carrie Fisher and Frank Oz in Empire Strikes Back, or go see them in The Blues Brothers. This was a very quick film to produce. It was shot in around 6 months, but it came out just 4 months after it had been finished shooting. There were scenes in it that are so iconic. This shot of John Belushi rolling down the stairs in this chair. He was terribly hurt after this, and he had to wear a back brace for several weeks after this fall. And it's not a stuntman. This is really John Belushi in a slightly weakened kid's desk that falls apart, and he got hurt bad. But it's such a great scene. The number of cars that they crash in this film held a record for a long period of time. They crashed 103 cars during filming, and it took 2 years for another film to crash more cars. And then finally, The Matrix Reloaded crashed 300 cars, so it blew all those records away. I love the scenes where they're driving through a mall, and it looks like a real mall that they're really going through and tearing up. And it's because it was at the time a real mall that was fallen into disrepair. And they paid the Dixies, they paid the producers, they paid the people who owned the Dixie Square Mall in Harvey, Illinois, for the chance to drive their cars through it and wreck stuff. And they said, people always thought it was going to be reopened after filming was complete. And later, the people at the mall sued the production company for $87,000 because when a film goes into a location, typically they have to return it to the state it was in before they got there. And that was never part of the agreement that they had. So they didn't have to do anything. And eventually the mall was torn down. The car in the Blues Brothers is so iconic. They had 12 of these cars. They called them the Blues Mobiles. And they built one that could literally just fall to pieces. And it is one of the greatest comedic, beats in a film ever, as they're walking away from the car and it just falls to pieces. And it's just a perfect shot in every conceivable way. I don't think there's a bad note. Like, I'm not the super huge musical guy that you might think. Like, I did a lot of musicals in theater, but film musicals were not that big a deal to me. But every song in this film works. There's not one that they miss on. And I couldn't believe it, from Ray Charles, where they show all the people dancing out in the streets, which was done a lot by extras and stuff, and Aretha Franklin's song. Just brilliant stuff everywhere, not counting just the Blues Brothers singing. And also you get Carrie Fisher, who's in this film. And I love Carrie so much. Like, she was awesome in this film. Like, she just blows things up and shoots at Jake and wants him dead because he left her at the altar. And then the moment where he just like is looking at her and he goes like, look, my car ran out of gas. I blew a tire. Everything went wrong. Like, and he just kind of stares at her for a second. He lifts up his glasses for a moment and winks at her, and she forgives him. And then he kisses her and then drops her into the sewer, where then she spends the rest of the movie kind of chasing after him to kill him.
That's fantastic.
There are so many iconic moments here, and you get to see, John Candy on screen, in the same film with John Belushi, and the two of them had kind of, come close to being in each other's films before, and actually were in a couple films, but this is as close as they came. There was a great little tagline in where when they're in the phone booth, where Elwood asks Jake, who you going to call? And that tagline becomes the tagline for Ghostbusters in 1984. And of course, everyone knows that John Belushi was meant to be in the Ghostbusters film before his untimely death. And, and I'm going to say something dark, but Dan Aykroyd talked a lot about the fact that cocaine was included in the film's budget, and it was there to help the cast and crew stay awake during night shoots, which a lot of the film occurs at. And of course, Carrie Fisher was engaged, to Dan Aykroyd at the time, and he kind of got her put down that path as well, which is an unfortunate thing. They got permission to shoot in downtown Chicago after Belushi and Aykroyd offered to donate $50,000 to a charity after filming, and they did. That last scene where they're running through Daley Plaza had 500 extras, and they shot the scenes with the extras in a way that, like they wouldn't be put in danger, but they knew that they were going to be in danger, so they brought in stunt people and dressed them up like civilians, and then they had them be the extras so that the scenes didn't look fake. Like, well, you see real people running away as you actually would. And the scenes where they're under the Chicago's train system, they're really traveling 118 miles an hour under that system, and even then they speed the film up a little bit to make it look a little bit faster. So and I think one of the favorite things is in the scene, and people forget that the Blues Brothers does not in any way participate in real movie physics. People don't seem to appreciate this. This is comic impossibilities or comic amusement, where the normal rules of suspension and disbelief in physics don't apply. The 50 police cars would never pile up on top of each other. The police follow the Blues Brothers. Destroying a shopping mall would probably never happen. And the ability to stop the Bluesmobile and drive it backwards and cause it to flip over, probably, and land on its wheels, probably would not happen.
It's a cartoon for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cartoonish. And that amazing scene where the Narzies are flying off in their Pinto. If you watch that scene, and I noticed that today, that when they're falling, they're actually higher than the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
Fall in front of the Sears Tower. And they actually had to get a special permit to drop that thing. And it was a special FAA, like, unworthy plane permit, so that they had to design it so the car would fall flat. And technically, you don't actually see the real car fall and hit the ground, but holy crap, it's thousands of feet in the air. Like, here it is in front of the Sears Tower. It's amazing. And it makes a huge hole in the ground, which it probably would, which the other Narzies fall into right behind it. So this film, just in every regard, is just a perfect motion picture. And it's so rare to see anything like this.
Absolutely. That is one of my favorite scenes in movie history, where they go off that ramp, and the music just starts dun 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 dun. You know, they're doing, and then it goes.
They
like
go up
through the air. You see, yeah, I know. And it's like, how the fuck they get that high? But then it's like, and they're like they're going and they're going and they're going. Then they start to fall. You see, like the
looks on their faces. The looks on their faces when they're going up is fucking makes me sick with laughter. There it is.
And then he turns to Henry Gibson and says, "I've always loved you." I love it when Henry Gibson is painting, like listening to, like, you know, Yahtzee music and painting a German eagle with it like paint by numbers, kind of, you know, one of these little hobbyist things like a chia pet. And it's like, we've got the address of Mr. Blues. Let's go get it. And they go, and then they wind up at Wrigley Field. And it says, one of these days, Mr. Blues is going to fuck up. When he does, you better hope the cops get to him before we do. It's just like, and then, you know, everybody's after him. That's the beautiful thing. You know, they go to, you know, they're trying to go get a gig, and Jake is lying, telling the band, "Oh no, we've got a gig, and they see like this country western bar featuring the good old boys, and they go in there, and it's like, we're the good old boys. And, well, goddamn, we're good.
Charles Napier.
Yeah. Oh, Charles Napier.
I love that guy.
He's so fucking funny in this movie.
Oh, I know. He's like, hey, how about that? You're going to look awful funny eating corn on the cob with no fucking teeth. And I love that, like, bar, you know, they play the thing and they're all like, they have to be behind chicken wire because everybody's throwing bottles and trash and everything, and they start singing Rawhide, the theme to Rawhide.
Country and Western.
Yeah, we got both country and Western. And, you know, and then they do a version of "Stand by Your Man," you know, singing real high and everything. And then at the end of it, it's like the owner says, "Yeah, boy, sure owe me a lot of money for that beer you drank. God damn it." We thought the beer was, you know, kind of complimentary for the big. Oh no.
You know, a movie's funny when you can't even talk about it without laughing your ass off.
Oh my God.
Everything about it is fucking hilarious. Andy, any great memories of Blues Brothers for you?
Oh yeah, like well, all right. Number one is like the enormous list of like cameos and stuff like this that are in here.
Oh yeah.
You can go back and you can like everything through the 80s. Like you can, it's almost like that Kevin Bacon, like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like you can find somebody that's been in Blues Brothers at some point. But like
Yeah.
one of the coolest things that I thought was like when growing up in the 80s, every single person, every kid inevitably for the next 5 years was dressed as the Blues Brothers for Halloween. And like they're like, and it was funny because like I was kind of young when this thing first came out. And then when you would watch it, is like you would go over to somebody's house, and back then, like modern kids and stuff like that can't relate to this, but like, you know, everybody had a videotape collection, and VHS was horrible, but every single person, you would go to their house and they had a copy of the Blues Brothers. And inevitably, you would pop it in there if it wasn't on like one of the cable channels like HBO or something like that, because that was pretty much all you had. But we were watching this thing over and over again, like once a month. And by the time I hit like high school, like where I was like graduating from high school, like you start to realize like all those little things that you'd missed because you watched it when you were a kid. And you're like, oh, that's what that meant. And then like getting into the blues music and stuff like that, like John Lee Hooker in there was oh my God, you sat there and you thought about like Cab Calloway and you listened to all that music. Oh my God, it was like, holy cow, this was like completely groundbreaking in you would think of like, you know, today anything like SNL, and it's like there's nothing that like connects you to culture like that. It was amazing.
Yeah. Incredible. And the music. Oh, and I love in the church.
Yeah.
When they're, and let's all go back to the old landmark. And like, do you see the light? Yes, Jesus H. Christ, I see the light. And then he like does this like somersault, and everybody's obviously jumping up and down on trampolines. You know, the black guys in the suits, like, you know, jumping up by the cross, the neon cross, and doing dives. And Jake is somersaulting. And I mean, I want to go to that church. That's the kind of church I want to be in. That is a hell of a great. I mean, he's bathed in light, you know, and we're on a mission from God. And when they go to see the penguin, you know, the nun that raised them, and she gets she uses her ruler like a goddamn lightsaber and is whacking the shit out of them.
That might be my favorite scene. I loved it.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Clobbering Times. You love that movie?
Yeah, it's been a while. I didn't get a chance to watch it this week, unfortunately, but it's been about like maybe a year or so. But the interesting thing about it, of course, you know, when that was in the theaters in 1980, I was going to see Empire Strikes Back 15 zillion times. I didn't really see it until it was on cable years later. But obviously, I love it. And I'm not that big on musicals either, but the music in this movie is perfect. Every bit of it is just the greatest soundtrack ever. And I remember like last year, I was sitting in my mom and dad's house, and for some reason, my mom's flipping channels, and we land on that somewhere like a quarter into it or something. And I didn't think my mom would never watch this, but I said, just leave it on this for a minute. And she'd never seen it before. My mom doesn't watch that kind of stuff. And she just kept laughing and laughing. She loved it. I'm like, wow, I got to go and start at the beginning of it. This movie, you cannot stop laughing the whole time. And it's up at the interludes where you're enjoying the great music. It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
Absolutely. Gary Ambrosia, don't you blaspheme in here. Don't you blaspheme in here. You're going to walk out of here without your dry white toast, without your 4 fried chickens, and without Patrick Tom Murphy.
God damn it. Shit. This movie, I remember seeing, I loved Animal House when I was a kid, but I saw Animal House before I saw this movie. And obviously I was a big Ghostbusters guy, and I saw, you know, Dan Aykroyd's in it. And it was kind of the first time I was introduced to old school Saturday Night Live when I was little. When I was little, I saw this. I was a little kid. I love this fucking movie. This movie has me sick with laughter from the beginning. I think the shot in the very beginning with John Belushi getting out of jail, Kelvington, I don't know if you have a still of that, but that is just incredible to me. I don't know whether they put a big giant screen behind the doors when it opens up in Joliet, and it seems like he's getting out of heaven. That was really cool. I really love that. The scene with, so this is really interesting because John Landis did a few horror films that are actually really scary. And
yeah.
you know, there's this real fine line between his comedy and his horror, because if you look at the shots and then the scenes when they're going up the stairs in the church, it's really kind of scary. And if it's, you know, it's the difference between like North and True North, where it's like funny to scary. You know what I mean? But if you watch the scene, it's actually quite frightening. And the way she kind of like moves, you know, she kind of moves out of the frame with the dolly or something, you know, where she tells him, you know, like she cast them out. So I love when she's got the ruler and she's smacking between their fucking heads. Shit. She's like, bah, 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 bah. That was so
But then she breaks it on their ass, and then she grabs a fire poker and whirls around with it and goes whoosh.
So apart from the obvious stuff, I actually have a story from Stephen Williams, who Stephen Williams is one of the cops that's chasing them in the movie.
Wow.
One of the two cops.
Oh, nice.
So I did this movie with Stephen Williams, and I asked him, I knew him from X-Files and I knew him from Blues Brothers. I said, hey man, I always like to collect John Landis stories. And I said, what do you got? Would talk to me, man. He said, so I got one story for you. It's the Blues Brothers. He said, so we're shooting the scene where the Chicago Police Department, the cop cars are supposed to crash and pile up. And he said they worked out a deal with the city of Chicago to because the city of Chicago had just gotten enough funding from taxpayers to purchase new police vehicles. So they were going to give the old police vehicles over to the production so that they could smash them and crash them and pile them up. And they gave them to them at a super cheap discount, right? So but the timing was really close. So John Landis is like, okay, we're supposed to have the cars delivered on set today so we can do the scene. So the cars show up, the police cars show up, and they wreck the shit out of them, right? You see in the movie, they wreck the shit out of them. There's piles. It's like a Looney Tunes piles of police cars. And the production gets a phone call from the city saying, hey, we haven't received our new cars yet. I guess we're not going to be able to give you guys these cars because we got to hang on to them. We haven't received our cars. And he's like, what are you talking about? We just wrecked the shit out of all the cars that you got. You guys dropped them off. And they're like, what are you talking about? Wow. So they had delivered the new police cars, the brand new Chicago police cars to the set, and they wrecked the fuck out of them in the movie. And the city was left with their old fucking police cars. And they're out that money.
Oh my god!
That's straight up from Stephen Williams. He said that was legit, and they didn't. He said, "Well, sorry, we just wrecked the shit out of them. They crossed the delivery addresses. How about that shit?"
Oh my god!
That's a good one. That's a great story.
I swear, there was one thing. I always notice new things when I like doing this segment on the show because I always notice new things in the movie, in the movies that we watch. One thing I notice is that they really are protected by God in this movie. There's no explanation as to why the fuck they get away with everything that they're doing. They're really, they're on a mission from God. It made sense to me, and it just makes it all the more funny. One part I absolutely just got sick with laughter was when they're stuck they're trying to cross the bridge and all the traffic's backed up, and the fucking Yahtzees are out there protesting and shit. And Belushi leans over and he's like, "Hey, what's the holdup?" And the cop leans over, and my grandpa was a cop, so I know about old school cops. New cops wouldn't say this shit, but old school cops are just like, they're just regular dudes. He's like, "Oh, these morons they won their court case, so now they can protest." He's like, "What morons?" And then the cop just leans over. He's like, "The fucking Yahtzee party." I about threw up laughing. That was so fucking funny.
Oh
this
man,
movie
it's
makes
great,
me
isn't
sick
it?
with laughter.
Oh
yeah, I love this movie. I'm glad you suggested it. Kelvington and I both watched the special edition, and there was an extra scene where Elwood was stealing the spray can epoxy from the place he used to work. Well, I never understood that part because he sprays the epoxy on the foot pedal of the Good Old Boys motorhome, and then he sprays a couple of other things, and you kind of artistic license. This is kind of like, all right, well, he's got some tricks in his bag. Okay, I get it. but the special edition kind of showed him stealing those cans from the factory he worked in, and I was like, okay, that makes sense now. That's where they came from.
Ah, wow.
I thought that was really interesting. But I love Charles Napier in the scene where they landed. You know, they just drove the motorhome into the water, and he looks over to the bartender. He's like, "Don't say a fucking word."
He's fantastic. He's always funny. That guy's hilarious and everything.
It's so funny. And then, of course, my favorite shot of the movie. I found this at Target the other day. Right.
Nice.
My favorite shot in the movie is the fucking car. That is so
fantastic.
Fucking funny. You hear the engine rev, it's like, and it's like oh my god. I don't know how the hell they did that, but it's just ridiculous.
Well, and the thing is, in the special edition, they have another scene that you didn't mention that shows that Elwood parks his police car, the Bluesmobile, underneath the Chicago L, and it has magical like recharging powers. Like it literally is like some supernatural charging of the police car that they cut that scene. Did you not see that on the special edition?
I don't remember that.
No, it's there. Yeah.
Maybe I must have just missed it, but
so it kind of explains why the car is imbued with special magical powers. You know.
You mean the scene where he loads it into the thing and closes the doors behind it, and has to climb out of the window? Oh, I didn't get that. I thought he was just parking.
No, it gets charged underneath the L. That's the idea behind it.
Interesting.
It's like
okay.
imbued with magical power. But one of my favorite scenes is when
Peter Gunn,
and they walk out and you see him through like a scope, and it's Carrie Fisher is like watching them in the car, and she's smoking, and yeah, there it is. And then they go into the phone booth to make a call, and then she hits it with an RPG, and instead of the phone booth blowing up, it rockets up into the sky, straight up into the sky, just straight up, which is again defying physics. It just makes me laugh my ass off every fucking time. It just goes straight up, and then it comes down and crashes, and they're lying there in a pile of coins from the broken phone. He says, "Hey, there's got to be $10 here." And he can't even hardly move. And Jake just kind of reaches over and starts feebly grabbing at the money.
They were in the booth, right? They're in the phone booth?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was so fucking
rocket straight.
Gotta be like $7 here in change.
Yeah, he's lying on his back, and he's buried in it, but he just reaches over and starts trying to scoop the money.
You can see the dummies like hanging out of the broken windows of the booth too when it lands.
Oh my god, I know it. It just couldn't be better.
I always loved How Much for the Women, the little girls. Yes. That's one of the greatest jokes ever perpetrated in a film, because it's a really ugly joke, but they do it because they're full of shrimp and eating too much. It's like, how much for the women? How much for the little girl? And it's just hilarious. It's a fall off your couch moment.
Yeah, it's a dirty joke.
Give them to me. Sell me your women. Like you had an Arab kind of voice.
Paul Rubens is the waiter too.
Oh yeah.
Which was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
I first saw this by accident because there was a movie theater back, because this is back before multiplexes. We had a theater like a couple towns over, so the Stratford Twin, and like you had two movies. So you had, and Empire Strikes Back was sold out, so we were already there. So we went to see the Blues Brothers, and then like we couldn't hear half the jokes. So we had to go back like the next weekend to watch it again, just so you could hear, like we went earlier, because my friend Bert's sister Diane, like she took us over, because like we were too young to get into like this. So we went with her, and watching this thing, it was like you're laughing so much, like just from the slapstick stuff, and then when you actually got to hear the jokes, oh my god, it was hysterical.
You know what was funny? I another joke that I didn't catch before was right before they drive through the mall, they got busted by the cops, and then Elwood takes off, and he tells, Jake is complaining to him, and he says, "Can't you just be a little positive sometimes?" And then if you listen as they're driving through the mall, Jake's like, "Oh, they got a sale at Cost Plus World Market here," and he's like being positive about everything he's saying. And I was dying because I didn't get that joke before. Because he's looking around, he's like, "All right, there's Toys R Us," smashing right through it. That was so fucking funny.
It was so good.
He's being positive because they're wrecking the fucking place.
Oh, I know it. I know it. It's such a great movie. I love the musical numbers. When they shot that one with Ray Charles, from what I understand, it was freezing outside. It was supposed to be in summer. When they're doing the dance outside, the crowd is like, "Go on, let me see you shake your tail feather." That bit, twist it, shake it, baby. It was supposed to be warm out there. It was fucking freezing out there.
25 degrees.
Whoa.
What was it?
25 degrees.
Yeah, it was 25 degrees when they were doing this choreography outside.
Wow.
And they had to be in summer clothes and look all enthused and everything. God, what a great movie. I like when the poor little kid is trying to steal the instrument and Ray pulls out a gun and get out of here. And his eyes are huge and he's panting and he runs and terrible things. Your boy go bad like that. Yeah. That kid's expression was hilarious. With there's the bullet holes on there. And of course, he's blind. So how the hell does he that's the gag.
Right.
It's just fantastic. And the songs are great. I love how Minnie the Moocher, Cab Calloway, it starts out, he's just in his Blues Brothers outfit. But then the curtains open and all of a sudden he's in, tail and tux and everything is sparkling like he was in his heyday. It's just a love letter to the blues. And all those guys, Donald Duck Dunn, Steve Cropper, Matt Guitar Murphy, I mean, those were real guys. They weren't just characters. They were real, jamming studio musicians and blues people and royalty. I mean, all of them,
Oh, yeah.
So this is a magnificent movie from start to finish, and I love it with all my heart. And anybody have a final word to say before we move on to super chats?
Next week,
we are going to have as our retro film Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. One of my favorite movies of all time. And
this is Centi Alpha 5.
Exactly.
Well said.
Exactly. I cannot wait. So tune in next Sunday, folks, because that is going to be the retro movie that we love for that week. All right, I'm going to take this
off and let's read some super chats, shall we? Mercenary X21 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, with the timeline, Darth Jar Jar is behind it all.
Nisa, so steeped in the dark side of Force.
Absolutely, Mercenary X21. Absolutely. He was a Sith Lord, not well known by most people. And Tracy Wilborn with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tracy. Says, today's media is the 21st century's bread and circuses. Obey, comply, consume. Hashtag the Orville was a breath of fresh air. It was and it is. And I think that it's going to take us to even greater heights, Tracy Wilborn. I really think it's going to take us to even greater heights. Thank you, Tracy. And hail to you, my friend. And Nicholas Horton with a £5 super chat. Thank you, Nicholas. Says, as Darth Sidious said in Revenge of the Sith to Yoda, my little green friend. Harvey, here's some wampum for your daughter.
I don't have a daughter. That is slander. I have no kids, and certainly it's not demonstrable or provable in a court of law.
He will not pay child support. He's a real deadbeat eldritch god. And
I'm not a deadbeat. I don't have any, damn it.
Well, are you willing to go on Maury Povich to prove it? No. That's what I thought. Christopher Mays with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Christopher. Says there is no way Kenobi is worse than The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was woke, nonsensical, and made completely no sense whatsoever. Kenobi breaks canon and pisses us off, but I can at least follow its story. I didn't say in my video that it was worse than The Last Jedi. I said that basically its impact is the same as The Last Jedi, that it is breaking the character of Kenobi, demoralizing fans, completing Kathleen's blow against the patriarchy or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But no, I mean, it's more entertaining than The Last Jedi. But at its core, with Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're treating them the same way. They're degrading them in the same way. And that was my point, Christopher. Thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. And you are correct. Kenobi is not worse than The Last Jedi. No, it is not. But it's identical in its effect on canon and on our heroes. Don Lewis with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Don. Says, regarding Strange New Worlds, where's a planet killer when you need one? I know. If only. Right, Clobbering Times? If only the planet killer would find Strange New Worlds and take them.
Oh, bring it home. Bring the Doomsday Machine in.
Please, God. Mercenary X21 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mercenary X21 says, I take offense to that, DC. I was dropped as a baby and I don't like this crap. You need to have a caved-in skull to like this. Karma is God's point system. Well said, Mercenary X21. And yes, sir, I apologize. I retract the comment. There are many perfectly productive members of society that were dropped on their heads as babies, and they don't do this Kenobi shit. Thank you, Mercenary X21. And Cardinal Sin with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Cardinal Sin says, but Pokemon bingo? No bingo. No bingo. Hail Pokemon. Thank you, Cardinal Sin. And Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Says, regarding Strange New Worlds, I intended to just lurk tonight. Stabbed my hand with a screwdriver. Ow. And typing is painful, but have to respond. You sound like the village has you, Kelvington. Resist. He's talking, of course, about the village and the prisoner. He says that you've been brainwashed, Kelvington, liking Strange New Worlds.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, he says. I am not a number. I am a free man. Imposter Oak with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Imposter Oak, says Doomcock. I am angry. Outstanding, Imposter Oak. Congratulations, you've taken your first step into a larger world. Thank you, Imposter Oak. And Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack White. Says, we need actual writers, not political pundits and activists ultimately. Too true, Jack. Too true. And until these companies start getting back to hiring actual professional writers with actual professional credits and life experience, and most importantly, talent, then they will continue to fail. Because we know what's a good story and what's a bad story, even if we can't necessarily always do it ourselves. Some of us can, some of us can't, but we know it because we see it and we're human and we have brains. Thank you, Jack White. SP4H with a $10 super chat. Thank you, SP4H says, it sounds like Lucasfilm in the Trek writing room. Need a taste of my Xanadu cleaning fire hose. Cheers, all. Spray them down, SP4H. Spray them down. You have my permission, my friend. Hail to you, SP4H. And Cardinal Sin with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Cardinal Sin, says Enterprise Pokemon Bingo. Go. Be gone. Nicely said, Cardinal Sin. Nicely said, sir. And Lenrod with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Lenrod, says hail. Watched the new Orville today. Sadly, I was underwhelmed. It wasn't bad, but it felt too weak to be the opening episode of a long overdue season. Well, Lenrod, that's kind of what I was saying, is that I felt that it was an interesting choice to choose such a downer episode to be the season 3 opener after so long an absence. Problem is, I don't know really, if you didn't do it now, you really couldn't do it. So I think they were just between a rock and a hard place. And it will be very interesting to see the next episode, Lenrod. But you got to say that, I mean, the acting was better. The writing was better. I mean, you could say you were underwhelmed, but at least it didn't make you want to throw up your own nuts, right? Unlike Strange New Worlds, which is essentially what it makes me want to do. Thank you, Lenrod. And stay tuned for the next episode. I think it's going to really open your eyes. Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack, again, sir. Says DC Kelvington, I have a manga recommendation for you two. World's End Harem. World's End Harem. Well, Harvey likes the World's End, and I like harems, so I think we'll check it out. Thank you, Jack. You have told me about this, and I need to track it down. But I need to finish up Bleach, but it's damn fine, sir. Damn fine. And OC Giggin with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, OC Giggin. Says, Gary, what's all that behind you? Your work in special effects? Can practical effects keep up with today's CGI? Any recent examples that you have seen? So, Gary, he's asking you.
Somebody's behind me?
No. What is that behind you? And are you in special effects? And I know it was close, but I'll embiggen you so they can see the amazing collection of things
behind me. Well, it's just odds and ends from different movies, and TV shows, and just stuff I've collected over the years and stuff that I've restored. There's a full set of the Goonies treasure from the movie. It's the only one in existence. Here's a picture of John Kreese.
Yeah.
There's Slimer over there. I got all kinds of. There's a communicator from a box from Galaxy Quest. I made it work too.
All right.
Yeah, it's like the only one that actually works. Let's see if I can get it to work. But there's the headpiece to the Staff of Ra. There's a Shankara stone. And I think there's a creature from the Black Lagoon back there. And yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff up there. It all comes from,
collecting.
Collecting, working in the industry and knowing all these people for many years. And I would trade things with people and steal things from certain studios. And, straight up, I would just hawk them. I can say that now. Because
what about the bat? Is that from Dracula?
No, that's actually from, I was going to make a point of that, but Disney kind of went shitty, but it's actually from the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of the stanchions, and in the what do they call those things with the velvet ropes? Anyway, that's what they kind of guide people to the attraction and stuff. But there's all kinds of fun stuff here, and I think that answered all the questions, right?
You wanted to know what do you think, CGI versus practical effects?
I was fortunate enough to meet Doug Trumbull and a couple of other really famous, amazing effects guys, and they all told me the same thing, which was if you can build it with a hammer, build it with a hammer.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. And Mercenary X21 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, did you see the Chip and Dale movie link I sent you? No, Mercenary X21, I have not. I know I need to watch that. I do have access from someone else's account on the Chip and Dale movie. So I will be watching. I just haven't had a chance. And also, Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you again, Jack. Says, my Lord, how far are you in Bleach? I am on episode 299 now. Myself, better catch up. Yeah, no, you're way ahead of me. And I haven't watched any since Friday. I've just been too busy, so I haven't had a chance to check it out. But thanks, Jack. Thanks for the reminders and motivation. I am continuing on my Bleach journey, and I am enjoying it very much. All right. And Nicholas Horton with a 10-pound super chat. Thank you very much, Nicholas Horton. He says, DC, I recommend watching the classic 70s Star Blazer anime. All episodes. No, I have not. I need to shrink him down. Sorry. Where was I? It's a different screen.
Nicholas Horton super chat.
Yes. I recommend watching the classic 70s Star Blazers anime. All episodes, season 1, 2, 3, can be found to watch for free on YouTube, and then watch the remake anime on DVD, Blu-ray. Great anime. Thank you, Nicholas. I've always wanted to see Star Blazers. I mean, I never saw it on its first run, so this is good news. Star Blazers. I've heard many wonderful things about it. It is truly classic and iconic. And I also want to watch Captain Harlock, right? The great Captain Harlock stuff. What was that? It wasn't called Captain Harlock though, was it? Is that Star Blazers or is it something else? I watched a few of them. I found them and then I lost them. But yeah, Captain Harlock was pretty damn cool as well.
Wasn't that
Space
something
Pirates.
Yamato?
Was it Yamato or
No, maybe a different one.
what was it, Killington?
Harlock Space Pirates 2013.
There you go.
And Harlock, the Queen of 1,000 Years.
Wow. He was so he's
Captain
trans too?
Harlock. There's also one called Captain Harlock Arcadia 1982.
That's the okay, yeah, that's the one. Arcadia. That's kind of the first, yeah. Thank you, Nicholas Horton, for that. I will check it out, man. I'll add it to the queue. And Nicholas Horton then also says with a 3-pound super sticker of Bushiba waving and saying bye-bye. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Jack White, Mercenary X21, all of you kind folks that support the channel through super chats. It means a lot to us. And we thank you profoundly for your support and for your attention and companionship here on Sundays on Pop Culture Breakdown. So let's go around and first of all, Andy Masterson, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Doomcock. And thank you so much to everyone here and everyone in the chat. I didn't get a chance to thank everyone individually, but thank you very much for the birthday wishes. And Doomcock, thank you very much. A year ago, I couldn't imagine even being sitting here, let alone being part of your whole community here that you've done. Thank you so much. This has been such a great thing for me and all the friends that I've made here. So you've made this a great birthday. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Andy, and please plug your channel too while you're.
Oh yeah, Laboratory of Mayhem. I make toys, and I do some weekly sculpting live streams and stuff like that. And I'll be putting some stuff up there with how to do stuff and how you can make your own stuff, so you don't have to depend on those evil, rotten, horrible Hollywood people.
Outstanding. Well, happy birthday, brother. Love you and thank you. Also, I want to thank you publicly for the Deckard Blade Runner figure that you sent me. And it's really beautiful. Andy made it and made all the clothes. And it's a full set of clothes. It's his shirt, his coat, and his trench coat. All together. And yes, he wears pants. So thank you, Andy. That is a fantastic. And the sculpt you got looks just like Harrison Ford. It's eerie.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I will be sending you a belt and a holster. I was trying to figure out how to make that, and I wanted to get it to you before your next birthday. So
oh, thank you, Andy.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it.
I loved it. Thank you, brother, and happy birthday to you. Let's see. Clobbering Times, please plug your channel, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you for having me tonight, man. As always, really enjoyed it. Appreciate you, buddy. And to the panel, you guys are all fantastic. Great chat out there. And Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be a basic open comic show. The lovely Purple Valkyrie will be joining me. Wednesday night, I do the big wild card. Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, the Clubhouse with my wonderful friends, Raquel and Mark. And then Saturday night Star Trek, Raquel and I are reviewing all of real Star Trek. And that's all of those 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, thank you so much, everyone.
Absolutely. You are welcome. And we really enjoyed having you on the show, Clobby. Thank you,
buddy.
Let's go ahead and ask Gary Ambrosia. Gary, what's going on in your world and anything you want to plug or anything?
Hey, just if you could check out my wife's rabbit rescue, the bunnytrailrescue.com. If the wrenches could put that in the chat, I would be very appreciative. Stay tuned to this channel. I know we talk a lot of shit, but we've got a lot of great stuff coming up. There's cool stuff that people are not doing anywhere else. And it's going to be right here. So stay tuned and stay angry. I love y'all. Thank you to the wrenches. Thank you for the chat. Love y'all and see you next Sunday.
Absolutely, Gary, and I can't wait for everybody to see what we have in store. Kelvington, anything you would like to plug, my friend?
I'm good.
Okay, well that was succinct. Well,
Shouldn't that be who?
all right, and Jack White.
I have a list.
He's checking it twice. Jack White with 3 $5 super chats in a row. Thank you very much, Jack. Jack White says, "My lord, I just sent you an email with a link to a manga site where you can read World's End Harem uncensored." Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jack. I am incredibly enjoying Berserk right now. God dang, Berserk is fantastic. Hell of a manga. And then Jack White also says the reboot of Star Blazers is also called Space Battleship Yamato 2199, Space Battleship Yamato 2202, Space Battleship Yamato 2205. Thank you, Jack. I'm going to have to go check those out. And then Jack also says you should be able to watch these series on the anime sites I sent you links to. Do you need me to resend them? I believe I have them. Jack, I will do a search, and if not, then I will let you know and ask you to resend them, please. God bless you, Jack. You are a damn fine friend, and you've opened my eyes to a larger world, and I thank you for it very, very much. And I want to thank everyone who attended this episode of Pop Culture Breakdown. Please come back next Sunday. We are going to be talking about Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, and I'm sure reviewing, just as we did this week, the latest outrage with Kenobi. Of course, God damn it, Suck New Worlds. God, I hate watching that thing. And of course, the Orville, along with any other pop culture madness that arises this week. And Sean Carter with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Sean. Says, happy birthday, Andy. So you got another birthday wish. Yay! You actually made us sing almost in sync, sort of, kind of, if you close your eyes and squint. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Sean Carter. And from the center of the earth, folks, this is Dictor Van Doomcock and my panel of pop culture pundits bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Good night, everybody.
All right.